Chapter 1749. Pa, the crisp sound stunned everyone present, especially the owner of that perfect face. You actually hit me. Jun Yen looked aggrieved. You used to be reluctant to let me lose a single strand of hair. Sima Yuyue, seeing the red palm print on his face, she smiled and asked, "Who are you?" The man's expression froze as he stared at Sima Yuyue in disbelief. You don't know who I am? Have you forgotten about me? Woo-woo, how could you forget about me? Sima Yuyue pursed her lips. She really didn't want to bother with this kind of person who was so handsome that he could drop to the ground. She turned to look at Ting Shan. After 2 days of interaction, Ting Shan had more or less understood her intentions. She stepped forward and bowed, saying, "Young miss, this is young Master Gongzi, your former good friend." Young master. Damn, it can't be, you really don't remember me? I heard that you lost your memory, so I specially came to see you. You really don't remember me? Gongzi Yuan cried out aggrievedly and rushed over, wanting to hug her. Sima Yuyue kicked him in the stomach and stopped him, saying, "You've got the wrong person. I'm not your Not If you have amnesia, then so be it. Why do you have to deny yourself?" Gongzi Yuan sat on a stool and looked at her unhappily. "I'm really not Murong Shi." Sima Yuyue repeated for the umpteenth time, "Aren't you her fox friend, good friend? Then you should know that I'm different from her. You look exactly the same, and you're also a piece of trash. Who else could it be if not you?" Gongzi Yuan said, "Don't worry. Although you lost your memory, I won't despise you. I'll definitely bring you along when we go out to play." Sima Yuyue rolled her eyes at him. She did not want to bother with this idiot. She stood up and walked towards her room. Suddenly, she felt that someone was looking at her. Turning her head, she saw a man in a thin red robe looking at her at the entrance of the courtyard. Who? When the man heard her scolding, he was so scared that his whole body trembled. He quickly knelt down and said, "Young miss, please spare my life. I just heard that you were injured and wanted to see how you were doing." Slave? Sima Yuyue frowned when she heard how he addressed himself. When she saw his faintly discernible body, she immediately understood his identity. She rubbed the corner of her eyes and said, "Ting Shan, send him back." After saying that, she pushed the door open and went back into the house. Gongzi Yuan looked at her in disbelief. He followed her into the house and said, "You don't even want your noodles? It can't be, your eyes were always shining when you saw them. Could it be that amnesia has changed your personality as well? I'll tell you one more time, I'm not Murong Shi." She gritted her teeth and emphasized. This Murong Shi, the young miss of eternal brilliant city, not only was she arrogant and despotic, she was also lustful and infatuated. She had snatched many handsome men back and locked them all in the backyard, saying that she wanted to have 3,000 handsome men. Although those who were snatched resisted, no one dared to provoke her father, Murong Hui. Those who went to seek justice were all dealt with by him. Later, everyone could only hide from her and did not dare to openly resist. Even so, there were hundreds of handsome men locked in her backyard. Everyone was wearing this kind of transparent red shirt. Now that she was treated as Murong Shi, the debts of these handsome men were also counted on her. Gongzi Yuan looked at Sima Yuyue and sized her up a few times. He touched his chin and said, "You really don't look like her. If you weren't such a waste, I would really believe it." Sima Yuyue rolled her eyes. She was treated as that woman every day by these people and did not listen to her explanation. She was also too lazy to say anything more. "You said I'm her, right? Well, I'll just treat myself as her." After saying that, she left the room and looked at Ting Shan and Ting Shui who were guarding the door and said, "Take me to Hibiscus Court." Ting Shan and Ting Shui were stunned, then they lowered their heads and led the way. They thought that she had really changed her temperament. Now that she saw a gigolo, she wanted to find them for pleasure again. Sima Yuyue followed Ting Shan and Ting Shui to Hibiscus Court. The people who lived there were originally chatting leisurely, but when they saw her, they suddenly froze. Some people couldn't help but tremble and didn't even dare to look at her. Some people looked at her angrily. Your injury hasn't healed yet. Don't go overboard. Gongzi Yuan was really concerned about her body, but these words were a bit ambiguous at this time. None of your business. Sima Yuyue ignored him and said to Ting Shan and Ting Shui, "Go, call everyone out for me." Ting Shan and Ting Shui immediately went to do it. Her appearance made them feel as if they saw her in the past. They just didn't know what tricks she was going to play this time. Sima Yuyue climbed up the rockery and let those people stand under the rockery. Soon, there were hundreds of people standing in the courtyard. They were all wearing transparent red robes. Her face and ears turned red as she thought that Murongxi really knew how to play. "Miss, everyone is here." Ting Shan came to the rockery and replied. Sima Yuyue put her hands on her knees and glanced at the faces below one by one. She sighed and said, "They are really all handsome men. What do you want to do this time?" A voice questioned. Last time when she gathered all of them, she took 10 men away, but none of them came back. She didn't know what she was going to do now. "I don't plan to do anything." Sima Yuyue curled her lips. "Today, I'm here to tell you that you are free. You can change your clothes and leave." "What? What tricks do you want to play this time?" When she said this, no one moved. Instead, they looked at her with more suspicion and vigilance. They were afraid that this was her new game. "I said that you are free." Sima Yuyue said. Ting Shan, give each of them 1,000 top-grade crystals and send them all out. Are you really going to let them go?" Gongzi Yuan jumped on the rockery and stood beside her as if he wanted to see through her. Sima Yuyue slapped his head to the side. "I said that I am not Murongxi, but you all want me to be her. Then I should have the right to deal with these people, right? Ting Shan, am I right?" "Miss is right. This servant will send them all out." Ting Shan said. "That's right." Sima Yuyue felt that Gongzi Yuan was an eyesore and kicked him down the rockery. She then looked at the hesitating men below and waved her hand impatiently. Go, don't be an eyesore here. You said that you are not Murongxi? Then who are you?" a man asked. "Yuyue," Sima Yuyue said and jumped down from the rockery. She didn't care about those people and left the courtyard. Gongzi Yuan followed her, and his probing gaze never left her. Chapter 1750. The two of them returned to her temporary residence in silence. "Now I really believe that you're not her," he finally said to Sima Yuyue when they returned to the house. Even if she had lost her memories, it was impossible for a person's personality to change so thoroughly. Therefore, he believed that she really wasn't Murongxi. "Since you already know that I'm not, then stop bothering me." Sima Yuyue wanted to shut him out of the room, but he held the door with both hands and refused to let her close it. "Although you are not I still want to talk to you." Gongzi Yuan leaned against the door and looked at her with a solemn expression. Sima Yuyue stared at him for a while, then stepped back to let him into the house. "You want to know about Murongxi?" she asked. "That's right. I also want to know, how did you appear here? Where's she, Where is she?" Gongzi Yuan asked. "I don't know either." Sima Yuyue shrugged. "I just came to the world of spirits and souls and met her in a daze. She was being chased and we fell off the cliff together. I was already here when I woke up." "That's it?" "That's it." Sima Yuyue said. "I told Mu Chu that I wasn't, but he didn't believe me and insisted that I had lost my memory." "That's strange." Gongzi Yuan frowned. "If I can tell that you're fake, it's impossible that Uncle Jian can't. After all, the difference between before and after is too great. So, he must have a motive," Sima Yuyue said. "You don't seem to care at all." Gongzi Yuan stared at her, trying to find something strange on her face, but there was nothing. "Care? It's not up to me to decide whether I care or not." Sima Yuyue said. "I don't have the ability to resist, right? You are very smart." Gongzi Yuan had a whole new level of respect for her. He thought that she was greedy for Murongxi's position. That's not right either. If that was the case, she would definitely say that she was Murongxi instead of denying her identity. You want Uncle Jian to talk to you? Gongzi Yuan asked in surprise. No, I'm just recuperating here. Sima Yuyue said, isn't Murongxi your good friend? Then why aren't you looking for her? Uncle Jian will definitely send someone. Gongzi Yuan said, if he can't find it, it's useless for me to go. Sima Yuyue glanced at him. You're such a rational friend. I'm not doing useless work. Gongzi Yuan said, I'm going back. I'll see you later. Sima Yuyue wanted to tell him that they were not close and that he did not need to visit her, but he had already left the courtyard. She looked at his somewhat dispirited back and thought to herself that this guy was actually very upset. She sighed and closed the door. The matter of driving away all the gigolos quickly spread throughout the city lord mansion, and the housekeeper went to Muronghui's study. Master, she let all those men go. The butler said. Muronghui rubbed the box in his hand and asked in a hoarse voice, where is she? She went back to the courtyard. In addition, Gongzi Yuan has already gone back. Looking at him, he seems to believe her words. The butler said, Master, should we do something? No need. I'll go talk to her. Muronghui took the box and went to Sima Yuyue's courtyard. Sima Yuyue was not surprised to see him. Please sit down. She was making tea and did not look at him after saying that. Muronghui stood in the same place, watching her quietly make tea, and said, She will not sit so quietly in the future. She's always in a hurry and can't stop. He said this to admit that she was not Murongxi. You really know. Sima Yuyue made the tea and put it on the opposite side, looking at Muronghui. My daughter, of course I know. She will never be as elegant as you. Muronghui walked over, picked up the teacup and took a sip. She will never be able to make such delicious tea. Sima Yuyue poured herself a cup and said, Can I know why? Muronghui put the box on the table and opened it. Sima Yuyue saw the broken life card inside. This is your daughter's life card? Yes. It was broken before I found you. Muronghui put the box away, but she is my baby. How can I let her body wander outside? So I took people to find her and met you in a coma beside her body. If it wasn't for my daughter's broken life card, would have thought that she was alive. Unfortunately. My condolences. Sima Yuyue looked at his painful expression, pursed her lips and comforted him. When I saw your appearance, I immediately decided to bring you back. Those people wanted to kill my daughter, but I haven't found out who they are. If they know that she is not dead, maybe they will do it again. Then I can find out who is behind it. Muronghui explained. So that's how it is. Sima Yuyue felt strange. Even if she and Murongxi looked alike, it was not to the extent that they could not recognize their relatives. It turned out that they already knew. You want me to lead the people behind it out? Although it is dangerous to do so, I can give you the status of Shi-er. As long as you are willing, you will be the young miss of eternal brilliant city. Mu Chua Dada, Sima Yuyue turned the teacup with both hands, thinking quickly in her mind. She had just arrived in the ghost realm and had no strength. She did not know anything else. It was good to have a stable place in this situation. As for the danger in it, if you want to gain something, you have to pay a price, right? The most important thing was that if she did not agree, she thought that Muronghui would not let her walk out of the city lord mansion alive. Okay, I promise. Father, try the tea made by your daughter. Sima Yuyue smiled and filled some tea for Muronghui. Good daughter, your cooking is really good. Thank you for your praise, father. The two began to call each other father and daughter. The two of them got along as if they were really father and daughter. Sima Yuyue did not say that she was not Murongxi anymore. Because her body was injured, Muronghui sent her a lot of medicinal pills and tonics. She ate the medicinal pills and put away the tonics. These tonics were useful for the body. She was now in a soul state, so eating them was useless. When her body was better, she drove Ting Shan and Ting Shui away, and then after confirming that there was no one nearby, she flashed into the spirit pagoda. The spirit pagoda had suffered a heavy blow this time, and it had degenerated beyond recognition. The previous blue sky and white clouds had disappeared, and the sky was gray, just like the sky of the ghost realm. She called out to Little Spirit twice, but Little Spirit did not respond. She then went to look at the spirit beasts. Other than Little Roar and Thousand Resonance who were in the contract space within her body, the other spirit beasts were all here and had all fallen into a deep sleep. Chapter 1751. Little Seven, Yiguang, Little Rock, Chongming, Goldie, Hua Hua, Little Meng. She went up to stroke the sleeping spirit beasts one by one, blaming herself in her heart. If it wasn't for her, they wouldn't have ended up like this. How can I wake you up? She caressed Yiguang's hair, which had lost its luster. She felt so uncomfortable that she wanted to cry, but because she was a soul, even crying had become a luxury. Woof, 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 Little Black's cry woke her up from her sadness. Seeing Little Black acting cute like a puppy, she was so excited for the first time. She cried and laughed. Little Black, you're all right. I'm so glad. She hugged Little Black and buried her head in its fur. Woof, 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 Little Hay barked twice. Sima Yue understood what it meant and laughed out loud. She stroked its dark fur and said, Black looks good too. Woof, 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 she wanted a white one. I like that too. Besides, you are black to begin with. Sima Yue comforted her. Useless. You only know how to bark like a dog. Mi Er's voice came from the side. Sima Yue looked over in surprise and saw him walking over with a look of disdain. Mi Er, you're okay too. Sima Yue went forward to hug him. I'm so glad that you're okay. Otherwise, I thought I would become a loner. I'm not a normal spirit beast. As long as you're not dead, I won't be harmed. Mi Er said proudly. Sima Yue ruffled his hair. That's great. If only they could wake up. You don't have to worry too much. They're just sleeping. Before Little Spirit fell asleep, he said that because the spirit pagoda was contracted with your soul, it followed you here. But because your soul was also heavily injured, it fell into a deep slumber. However, it also said that as long as you can cultivate, the spirit pagoda will be able to absorb your energy and reopen. That's good. By the way, where are my father and the others? Sima Yue heaved a sigh of relief when she heard this. She remembered that Sima Lu Xian and Enlei were also here, but she didn't see them. Right now, the spirit pagoda is only this big, and the living area is not exposed at all. But your father and the others are doing well in the living area. When you reopen the spirit pagoda, they will come out. After I recover, I'll start researching how ghost cultivators cultivate. Sima Yue said, I'll go out first. If I'm discovered, I'll be in trouble. Woo woo, Sima Yue lowered her head. Little Black bit her skirt and refused to let her go. She squatted down and gently stroked its head, saying, I have to go out. Woof, 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 I want to go out too. Sima Yue thought that Little Hay looked like an ordinary dog now, so she carried it out. Not long after she came out, Ting Shan entered the courtyard and came to the front of the house to report, Miss, young master and young master are here. Gongzi Yuan? Why is he here again? Sima Yue carried Little Black out and saw Gongzi Yuan coming in. Why are you here? Sima Yue asked. I'm here to see how you've recovered. Gongzi Yuan said with a smile. Seeing Little Black in her arms, he frowned in disgust. Where did you get this little black dog? My contract beast. Sima Yue stroked Little Black's head, indicating that it shouldn't be angry. Your contract beast? It can't be. Why do you have such a contract beast? It doesn't have any spiritual power. Gongzi Yuan looked at her with some sympathy. He patted her shoulder and comforted her. It's okay, you're still stronger than she. She always wanted to have a contract beast, but she didn't get it. Although you're an ordinary dog, you're still a contract beast. Sima Yoyue's mouth twitched. She didn't know how the arrogant and despotic Murongxi became friends with Gongzi Yuan, this chatterbox. What are you doing here today? She took 2 deep breaths and didn't kick him out. I'm here to see if you've recovered. If you've recovered, come with me to see the youth exchange. Gongzi Yuan said. Youth exchange? What's that? It's a competition between the young guys in the city. Whoever wins will get a reward from the city lord's mansion. She, and I used to go every time, so this time I'm here to ask if you want to go together. Gongzi Yuan explained. Youth exchange, we can go and see. But my father has to agree. Sima Yuyue said. She said to let him agree, but in fact, she was telling him to send someone to protect her. If he didn't agree, then she shouldn't go out. Who knows if someone was waiting to kill her in the dark. She originally thought that Muronghui would disagree, but she didn't expect him to agree without hesitation. I'll send someone to protect you in the dark. If there's anything you need, just tell them directly. Muadada, squinting eyes face email protected. Thank you, father. But I have to attend the competition, so I may not be able to take care of you. You have to pay attention to your safety and don't be alone, understand? Muronghui urged. I know. Sima Yuyue nodded. She didn't intend to joke with her life. But with me those people couldn't hurt her. Muronghui saw that she didn't leave much and asked, what else do you need? Father, you have a suspect in your heart for the last incident, right? Can you tell me which forces it is? What is their relationship with Eternal Brilliant City? If I know, I won't be flustered when I meet them. Sima Yuyue said. I'll let the housekeeper sort out the information and give it to you. Muronghui glanced at the housekeeper and the housekeeper immediately left. Sima Yuyue went back with satisfaction. Soon, the housekeeper sent the information she needed. She didn't know why, but the information not only had a bad relationship with Muronghui, but also had a good relationship with him. There were also some who had a good relationship on the surface but actually made them suspicious. After reading the information, she curled her lips and murmured, such a complicated relationship, no wonder I can't guess who the mastermind behind killing Murongxi is. It seems that my life is really a little bit dangerous. I still have to start cultivating. However, the old ancestor only passed the power of the netherworld into her body and didn't teach her how to cultivate the power of the soul. Moreover, what she learned from MOU was only some spiritual skills, and there was no cultivation method. So, she was now like a student who had just started school and didn't know anything. Ghost cultivation, it's really a headache. It seems that these people all cultivate ghost energy. I don't know how to cultivate this soul body. After thinking about it, she still didn't ask the people around her. First, they were not soul bodies, and second, she didn't trust them. After thinking about it, she decided to go to the library to see if she could find a book about soul body cultivation. When Ting Shan heard that she was going to read, she only hesitated for a moment before taking her to the library. Chapter 1752. Standing outside the library, she raised her head to look at the 3 flamboyant words on the signboard. For a moment, she couldn't differentiate between reality and her memories. The Book Collection Pavilion. The Sima family also had a book collection pavilion. The first time she stepped into the library, she was also a piece of trash, unable to cultivate. Now, she had to start all over again. However, this time was different from before. She had the power bestowed upon her by the patriarch. As long as her soul cultivation increased, she would be able to unlock the seals layer by layer and truly receive the patriarch's power. Miss, you've never been to the library before. What kind of books do you want to read? Ting Shan reminded her when she saw her staring blankly at the plaque. Sima Yuyue regained her senses and asked, where are the books on cultivation methods? It's on the 2nd floor. The first floor is filled with books on various aspects, the second floor is about cultivation, and the third floor and above are all about spiritual techniques. Then I'll go to the second floor. Just wait for me here. Sima Yuyue instructed Ting Shan. Ting Shan remembered Murong Hui's order to treat Sima Yuyue like the previous miss, so she obediently stayed on the first floor. After Sima Yuyue went upstairs, she saw some books about cultivation on the bookshelves outside, but most of them were about ghost cultivation. At most, he had only mentioned one or two things about the cultivation of the soul body. Finally, she saw a thin and worn book on the shelf at the end. There's only such a shabby book. She took the book down and was a little disappointed. You are looking for the cultivation method of the soul body. An old voice sounded beside her, giving her a fright. Who? She looked around and felt breathing behind her. She quickly turned around and saw a short and small old man looking at her with his hands behind his back. Hello, I'm just a cleaner. The little old man said, do you want to study the cultivation method of the soul body? I'm just taking a look, Sima Yuyue said nonchalantly. Cultivating soul power is good, but it's a pity that good soul power cultivation methods are about to be lost. The little old man said, however, for a soul body like yours, you can only cultivate this now. Sima Yuyue was shocked. How did you know? That she was a soul? This little old man still has a discerning eye, the little old man said with a smile. Sima Yuyue was alarmed. She remembered that the patriarch had said that the body that he had helped her condense could not be seen as a soul body. However, this old man was able to discover it with just a glance. Just how strong was he? I wonder if me air can handle him. The little old man saw that her expression had only changed slightly. He stroked his beard and said with a smile, you don't have to worry. The little old man won't do anything to you. Then why did you expose me? I'm just curious. How did you materialize your physical body? From the looks of it, you haven't even started soul cultivation yet, have you? The little old man's smiling face made him seem more friendly to others. Before I came to the ghost realm, one of my patriarchs helped me condense my body. Sima Yuyue said. She said this to tell him that she also had a very powerful patriarch. Secondly, her patriarch was not from the ghost realm. He should not ask who he was. The little old man understood her meaning and did not continue to ask. He walked to the innermost bookshelf and squatted down to rummage for a while. He took out a book and handed it to Sima Yuyue. This book is much better than the one in your hand. Sima Yuyue took the book. It was a thick book. Although the corners were missing, there were no missing words or pages. It was indeed much better than the one in her hand. Thank you. She smiled at him and said gratefully. Soul cultivation is much harder than ghost cultivation. Young lady, the road ahead will be difficult. The little old man sighed and left the second floor. Sima Yuyue looked at his back and clenched the book in her hand. She naturally did not believe that he was a cleaner. He must be a very powerful senior in the Murong family. But why did he come out to expose her and find a book for her? Curiosity was not a valid reason. Anyway, if he really wanted to harm her, with me air around, even if he could not turn the world upside down, it would not be a problem for him to leave. She put away the two books and turned to go downstairs to leave. Seeing Ting Shan standing outside the book collection pavilion, she asked, is there a skinny old man cleaning the book collection pavilion? A skinny old man? No. The library has always been cleaned by the maids. Ting Shan replied. Oh. Let's go back. Sima Yuyue was not surprised. It seemed that her guess was right. Returning to the courtyard, she shut Ting Shan and Ting Shui outside and said that she was going to cultivate in seclusion. No one was allowed to disturb her. If anyone came in, she would sell them to the brothel. She did not have spiritual power now, so she could not set up a barrier. She could only rely on external forces. Ting Shan and Ting Shui knew that Murong she had sold a maidservant before, and they heard that the maidservant's fate was very miserable. Now that they heard this, both of them were very alert and determined not to let any Tom, Dick, or Harry enter. So, when Gongzi Yuan came, he was mercilessly stopped outside by the two. Cultivate? Can she cultivate? Isn't she a waste like she, Gongzi Yuan muttered and left. If Sima Yue knew, she would roll her eyes at him. Who said that she was a waste and could not cultivate? She hadn't even started to cultivate yet, all right. She first opened the old and thin book. There was no cultivation method in it. In the words of the little old man, it was not very useful. She roughly flipped through it. This book was just an introduction to soul cultivators. Soul cultivators referred to those who died in other realms and their souls entered the ghost realm and started cultivating again. Soul cultivators were very weak at the beginning, so it was difficult to survive. Ghost cultivators referred to those ghost clans who cultivated ghost chi. When Sima Yue was alive, she was also considered a ghost cultivator. Ghost cultivators were much more powerful than soul cultivators because ghost cultivators could contract underworld beasts and soul cultivators at the same time as ghost cultivators. In addition to using ghost chi in battle, they could also use soul power. Moreover, some ghost cultivators cultivated underworld techniques to suppress soul cultivators and even control them as their slaves and subordinates. So, there were fewer soul cultivators in the ghost realm. But once a soul cultivator grew up, they were very powerful and dominated a part of the world in the ghost realm. Because there were many powerful soul cultivators, ghost cultivators chose to strangle soul cultivators in the cradle. There were even fewer soul cultivators in these years. But there was one exception, and that was the soul realm. The old ancestors said that under the 9th underworld mountain, the black lotus bloomed, and no one dared to disobey the 3 realms of the ghost realm. These 3 realms referred to the ghost realm, soul realm, and hell. The soul realm was the realm where soul cultivators lived. It was as famous as the ghost realm and hell, which was enough to show its status and strength. Chapter 1753. Sima Yue squinted her eyes when she read about the infernal hell in the book. Her mother was suppressed in the abyss of hell. When would she be able to rescue her? His spirit pagoda was damaged, and he was unable to open the treasure vault. The 100 ghost gonfalon was still inside. If she couldn't get the 100 ghost gonfalon, she couldn't save him. He wondered how Deja was doing now. Should she look for him? The thought only flashed in her mind for a moment before it was dismissed. It was not the time to look for Deja yet. Without strength, she couldn't do anything. Therefore, the most important thing now was to cultivate. When he was strong enough, he would look for him and save his mother together. She finished reading the first book and gained a general understanding of soul cultivators. Then, he picked up the second book and started reading. At the beginning of the book, it was an introduction to soul cultivation. Later on, it talked about the methods of soul cultivation. Soul cultivation was much more complicated than ghost cultivation. In addition to cultivating soul power, one also had to cultivate the soul body. If his soul power was too strong and his soul body couldn't keep up, then he might not be able to withstand the soul power and explode. It was just like how the old ancestor had given her a powerful soul power, but she had no choice but to seal it because her soul body wasn't strong enough. Of course, if one cultivated slowly, one's body wouldn't explode. However, if one's soul couldn't be improved, one's soul power would be restricted and one's strength would be restricted. How troublesome. She put down the book and rubbed the space between her eyebrows. Even with the soul power given to me by the ancestor, I don't know when I'll be able to improve my soul body if I cultivate according to this method. The cultivation method of the soul body described in this book was not low grade, but it was still far from what Sima Yue wanted. Suddenly, she thought of something and slapped her forehead, saying, "Why are you so stupid? You clearly have the most powerful cultivation method in the world, what are you still thinking about? Wasn't the soul refining art that Mo Sha had given her for cultivating the soul? Mo Sha's move, how could it be an ordinary cultivation method? Why didn't she think of that?" She put down the book, sat down cross-legged on the bed, and began to cultivate according to the soul refining art. The cultivation of the soul body was divided into 5 stages: spirit condensation stage, spirit refinement stage, body condensation stage, body refinement stage, and body shaping stage. The first 4 stages were further divided into the early stage, middle stage, and late stage. When one reached the final stage, body sculpting, one would be able to cultivate a real body. Now that she was starting to cultivate again, the first thing she had to do was to enter the soul condensation realm before she could start cultivating her soul power. As long as she could cultivate her soul power, she would be able to reopen the spirit pagoda. Little Spirit would also be able to wake up and provide spiritual power to the sleeping beasts. Fortunately, she had practiced the soul refining art before, so she was familiar with it. In just a few days, she entered the middle stage of the soul condensation stage. She had never come into contact with soul cultivators before, so she didn't know if her speed was considered fast. What she didn't know was that generally, it would take at least half a year for a soul cultivator to reach the soul condensation realm. It would take at most a few years for a soul cultivator to reach the soul condensation realm from the early stage to the middle stage. Her speed could no longer be described as heaven-defying. However, she also had an innate advantage. She had her memories and knew how to cultivate, but the other souls did not. Moreover, she had cultivated her soul before, so her soul was stronger than others. In addition, she had practiced the soul refining art before. With all kinds of reasons added together, her speed was naturally faster. She withdrew from her cultivation and felt her body. It was much more solid than before, and she had more strength. Coupled with her close combat skills, it wasn't impossible for her to fight with people with lower strength. She felt soul power in the air entering her body. She clearly didn't cultivate her soul power, so what was going on? She found that after the soul power entered her body, it stopped at the place where the spiritual pool used to be. This is soul power? She observed for a while and found that although the soul power was very little, it did enter her body automatically. Could it be that my body can cultivate automatically? She remembered that when she cultivated her soul power, Little Spirit would absorb the surrounding soul power. Could it be that it was also absorbing? No matter what, it was good to have it. No matter how small a mosquito was, it was still meat. She looked at the soul power in the spiritual pool. It wasn't black like the ghost energy, but milky white. Moreover, it wasn't little. She should be about to reach the threshold of Underworld Fiend Master. Underworld Fiend Master, Underworld Spirit Master, Underworld Royal Master, Underworld King, Underworld Venerable, and Underworld Emperor were the cultivation levels here. There weren't as many cultivation levels in the human world, but the gap between each level was bigger, and it was more difficult to advance. She had been stuck at the early stage of Underworld Fiend Master, so there was no difference. She released her mental strength and could feel the situation around her again. Although the range was far from what it was before, it felt good to be able to control her power again. Gongzi, young master, my miss is really cultivating. She ordered that no one is to disturb her and no one is to go in. Please spare us servants. Ting Shui was so scared that she was about to cry when she saw the unreasonable Gongzi Yuan, who insisted on entering the courtyard. Nonsense. She obviously can't cultivate. You just don't want me to go in. Gongzi Yuan shouted, I came with this excuse last time, and this time it's still the same excuse. Can't you change it? We really don't have it. Gongzi, young master, please don't make things difficult for us. Ting Shan stopped Gongzi Yuan. If young master really wants to go in, you have to step over us. Feeling the situation outside, she retracted her soul power, got off the bed, opened the door and walked out. Ting Shan, Ting Shui, you can leave. She ordered the 2 maids. Ting Shan and Ting Shui were relieved when they heard her order and moved to the sides. Gongzi Yuan walked over and looked at Sima Yue. I didn't see your ghost aura increase. It seems that these maids are deliberately finding excuses to not let me see you. I say, Gongzi Yuan, we don't seem to be familiar with each other. You know that I'm not Murongxi, so why do you keep coming here? Sima Yue asked. Gongzi Yuan's handsome face turned red. How could he tell her that although he was heartbroken for the dead Murongxi, he wanted to see her more? The feeling of seeing her and seeing Murongxi was completely different. Could it be that the slap had hit his heart? Or was it that confident and unruly eyes that deeply attracted him? I just want to help you. You want to pretend to be she. Without my help, it's easy to be exposed. Gongzi Yuan seemed to have found a reason to convince himself and spoke with confidence. TSK, Sima Yuyue rolled her eyes at him. I've lost my memory. Anything can happen. I don't need you to cover for me. I have good intentions. Gongzi Yuan looked as if he had been wronged. Sima Yuyue couldn't stand it and waved her hand impatiently. Okay, stop being like that. Tell me, why did you come to find me today? The youth exchange will start in a few days. Chapter 1754. In 1 second, she remembered, love divided by you? Read book web no pop-up window, free to read. Actually, it's nothing. I just want to ask you if you want to go to Atavistic Orchid Mountain with us. Gongzi Yuan scratched the back of his head. I heard that it's very lively there recently. Atavistic Orchid Mountain? It's the mountain outside the city. You were brought back from there. Gongzi Yuan said, how about it? Do you want to go? Who's going with me? It's those people from before. Gongzi Yuan realized that she didn't know. Anyway, they're similar to me. Their status isn't low. There will be people around to protect them. When are you going? Tomorrow. The youth exchange is in a few days. Aren't you going to participate? At that time, there was no Atavistic Orchid Mountain. Gongzi Yuan said, if you can come back, then come back to participate. If not, then forget it. Sima Yuyue didn't immediately answer, but turned to look at Ting Shan and asked, has he always been like this? Ting Shan was startled and then replied, yes. At the same time, she said in her heart, Miss, you used to be like this. Sima Yuyue nodded and asked, I used to follow him out to fool around? Yes. Ting Shan was thinking, what the hell is fooling around? No, we're all ghosts. Since that's the case, then I agree. Come to the house tomorrow and find me. Sima Yuyue said to Gongzi Yuan. I'll go and talk to Dad. Gongzi Yuan looked at her back as she left, and his mouth twitched. Why did he feel that she was looking at a child who hadn't grown up? I'll pick you up tomorrow morning. He shouted at her back. Got it. Sima Yuyue waved her hand, but she didn't even turn her head back. Seeing this, a certain someone was extremely disappointed and walked away dejectedly. When Muronghui heard that she was going to Atavistic Orchid Mountain with Gongzi Yuan, he frowned slightly and said, why do you want to go to Atavistic Orchid Mountain? I want to see the place where I came from. Sima Yuyue said, and I can't hide at home all the time, so those people won't have a chance to make a move. Isn't it the youth exchange? Aren't you busy at the youth exchange? If those people took action, would you have the energy to track them down? Sima Yuyue said, maybe they didn't expect me to go to Atavistic Orchid Mountain again, so they won't do anything to me. I'll just tag along to have some fun. Alright, since you want to go, then go. Take this. If anything happens, crush it and I'll go save you immediately. Muronghui took out a black stone. Sima Yuyue couldn't recognize it yet, so he just gave it to her. Oh right, I heard that you've been cultivating recently? Yes. How's the effect? If you have any questions, you can come to me. A-class equals, __cf email _, ref equals, /cdncgi/l/email protection, datic female equals, 75A8FA35 Bec 0, email protected. Sima Yuyue was stunned for a moment before she nodded. Okay. It was the dream of many people to be able to get his guidance. Although she didn't need it, he was willing to say so, which was also his kind intention. Gongzi Yuan will come to pick me up tomorrow. I'll go with him directly when the time comes. If there's nothing else, I'll go back first. Alright, I'll send someone to follow you. Thank you, Dad. She turned and left, just in time to meet the housekeeper coming in. The housekeeper respectfully saluted her. Sima Yue nodded to him, then looked around at the guards outside and walked away. The housekeeper knew that she was a fake, but he could still be so polite. Was there someone else's informant in the yard? Would those people know that she went to atavistic Orchid Mountain? Anyway, Murong-hui wouldn't let her have an accident now. These security measures would definitely be in place. If it didn't work, she still had me air. After going back, she cultivated for a night. This time, she cultivated her soul power. She felt that she would be able to enter the threshold of Underworld Fiend Master after a while. Early the next morning, Gongzi Yuan ran to find her. Seeing that she hadn't eaten breakfast yet, he gave her 2 buns, took her hand and ran. Why are you in such a hurry? Running halfway, Sima Yue pulled back her hand, rubbed her wrist, and glared at him. Those guys have advanced the departure time and are now waiting at the city gate. If they leave, we have to go by ourselves. Gongzi Yuan said. Go by yourself, it's not like you can't find the way. Sima Yue said, are you hiding something from me? In fact, I'm not hiding it from you. It's just that I have an appointment with Chao Chengan to compete. If we separate, I won't know his results. Gongzi Yuan said, at that time, he will definitely laugh at me for running away. That kid has a foul mouth. He can talk for a long time about one thing. I'm annoyed by him, so I have to find you to hide. Sima Yue gave him a look of admiration and said, let's go. Woof woof woof, Little Black chased from behind. Sima Yue quickly hugged it and didn't let it rush over to bite Gongzi Yuan. Woof woof woof, Little Black barked at Gongzi Yuan. It was very unhappy that he took Yue away while it was eating. Be good, he didn't hurt me. Sima Yue stroked its head and said to Gongzi Yuan, don't pull me and run like this in the future. My Little Black's intelligence isn't that good. It can't differentiate good from bad. It'll be troublesome if it hurts you. Gongzi Yuan wanted to say, how can it hurt me? But seeing Sima Yue's serious expression, he could only nod his head. Sima Yue put Little Black down and patted its head, saying, become bigger. Little Black shook its body and became the size of a tiger. Sima Yue jumped and sat on it, then said to Gongzi Yuan, let's go. Gongzi Yuan saw her walking forward and reached out to cover his eyes. He didn't dare to imagine how those guys would react when they saw her contract beast. He suddenly felt that it was good to bring her into the mountain. At least he didn't have to lose face. Sure enough, those guys at the city gate were stunned when they saw Sima Yue sitting on an underworld dog. Then, they all laughed. Gongzi Yuan, you said you were going to bring someone. Are you bringing this trash? Murong Shi, when did you get such a beast to play with? Is it your contract beast? If you call me trash again, be careful that Uncle Hui gets angry and throws all of you out of the city. Gongzi Yuan threatened. How is that possible? Murong Shi, we agreed at that time that the matters between us juniors will not involve the family. You won't go back on your words and complain, right? Sima Yue looked at them, holding her chin with one hand and said, since I said I won't tell the elders, then I won't tell anyone. When did I break my words? That's true. But, are you going to sit on this to go to atavistic Orchid Mountain? Sima Yue patted Little Black's head, why not? My Little Black is very powerful. Chapter 1755. In 1 second, she remembered, love divided by you? Read book web quick update, no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue looked at these people. There were more than 10 of them, all dressed like rich young masters. But they didn't bring any guards, not even servants. Although 2 of them spoke contemptuously, they were generally okay and didn't discriminate against her. Gongzi Yuan, are you going to bring her? Chao Chengan, a little fatty, asked Gongzi Yuan. Yes. Gongzi Yuan nodded. What about our competition? Of course, we'll follow the original plan. Gongzi Yuan said without thinking. You're bringing her along? Chao Chengan looked at Gongzi Yuan in surprise. I know you have a good relationship, but this is a competition. Don't find excuses when you lose. TSK, we don't know who will win. Gongzi Yuan said, unconvinced. Don't deny it when you lose. You're bragging. Can you win with that trash? You'll know when the time comes. Gongzi Yuan snorted. Even if he brought Sima Yue, it would be a piece of cake to win. Mu Kaiyan, the young master of the Mu family, came over and patted Gongzi Yuan's shoulder. I can't figure it out. Gongzi Yuan, you're a genius of the Gongzi family. Why do you like to hang out with the trash of the city lord's mansion? I'm happy. Why do you care? Gongzi Yuan slapped his hand away and strode forward. What's wrong with this guy? Mu Kai-en pointed at Gongzi Yuan in surprise. He didn't have such a big reaction when I said it before. Why is he angry at me this time? Didn't you notice that Yuan looks at Shi-er differently now? Shao family's Miss Shao Ruobai pouted with a teasing look in her eyes. You mean? Mu Kai-en and Chao Chengan widened their eyes. How is it possible? Haven't they always been like this? Why does that guy suddenly like that trash? This is incredible. Didn't you notice that Shi-er is different from before? Shao Ruobai asked. It seems different. Mu Kai-en touched his chin. Is it because of amnesia? Amnesia will change people's temperament? Chao Chengan didn't believe it. Do you think you will? Me? Even if I lose my memory, I won't be able to change my personality. Mu Kai-en snorted. But she's different now. Although it's still the same trash face, it gives people a different feeling. Shao Ruobai said doubtfully, could it be that her amnesia has changed a lot? We'll see. We'll spend a lot of time together in the future anyway. I think that a dog can't change her nature. Her nature is still the same. Chao Chengan said. Chao, do you know that nothing good comes out of a dog's mouth? Sima Yue asked without turning her head. Why didn't I know about it? Chao Chengan did not expect Sima Yue to hear their conversation, so he replied subconsciously. Then, he reacted and shouted, Are you calling me a dog? Is there? Sima Yue turned around. It's not a good habit to speak ill of others behind their backs. What do you mean behind your back? We said it openly, Chao Chengan retorted. They used to say the same thing, but because Murongxi didn't have spiritual power, she couldn't hear it. He didn't expect her to hear it now. Could it be that amnesia makes people's hearing better? Sima Yue patted Shao He and motioned him to stop. Then she turned to look at him and said, Are you so sure that Gongzi Yuan can't win against you with me? Of course. I'm waiting for him to admit defeat and call me big brother. What if he wins? Then he will be the big brother. Then you should be prepared to be the little brother. Sima Yue laughed, You will be convinced of your loss. TSK, now is not the time to talk big. When you reach Atavistic Orchid Mountain, you will know how much of an advantage you have in this competition. Chao Chengan said with a smile. Really? Then let's wait and see. Sima Yue was very confident. She was so confident that people would have a whole new level of respect for her. But what she did next almost made everyone fall to the ground. Gongzi Yuan, what is the content of your competition? She didn't know the content of the competition at all. She dared to boast without knowing anything. This was exactly the same as before. Now they believed that she was still her. Even if she lost her memory, her temperament had not changed at all. Gongzi Yuan was also speechless. She was really the same as Shi-er. But why did he think that Shi-er was joking before, but what she said in front of him was true? Shi-er, you don't have to worry about the competition. Just follow me when the time comes. I will protect you. He said, I brought you out, and I will naturally send you back safely. Speaking of this, Murongxi, what happened to you last time? How did you get chased down the cliff? Shao Ruobai asked. How would I know? My father said that there are always some blind people who envy and hate our family. They can't beat my father, so they have to find me. It's a pity that I don't remember what happened before. Otherwise, maybe I can remember some clues and find out who did it. Sima Yuyue said in distress, this amnesia is really annoying. Don't worry about this. Uncle Jian is so powerful. He will definitely find out who did it to you. Xiao Ruobai said. Well, I think so too. Who is my father? Who can be better than him? Sima Yuyue said with a smile, one day, my father will find out those people and avenge me. Gongzi Yuan's mouth twitched. Didn't this girl say that she had never been in contact with Shi-Er? Why did she speak in such a similar tone? Sima Yuyue saw his speechless look and smiled at him. Wasn't it just imitating Murongxi's speech? She had never seen Murongxi, but there were so many people in the city lord mansion, and Ting Shan and Ting Shui were there. How could she not know what she was like? By the way, you said that atavistic Orchid Mountain has been very lively recently. What is it? Is it related to your competition? She asked. You don't know? My father was frightened by what happened last time. He doesn't allow me to go out or inquire about what's going on outside, so I don't know anything. Sima Yuyue shrugged. You can actually stay at home. Everyone looked at her in surprise. Don't be surprised. Tell me what's going on. Sima Yuyue urged. In fact, it's nothing. It's just that the underworld beasts in atavistic Orchid Mountain have been quite turbulent recently, so there is news that a treasure has been born. Many forces got the news and rushed over. Mu Kaiyan said. A treasure has been born? Why didn't my father respond? Is your news fake? Sima Yuyue tilted her head and frowned. Is your news reliable? Chapter 1756. In 1 second, she remembered, love divided by you? Read book web quick update, no pop-up window, free to read. We don't know if it's reliable or not, but a lot of people have come. You haven't been out recently, so you don't know that a lot of people have come to the city recently. Mu Kaiyan said, they are all here for that treasure. I still think it's not reliable. The people in our city didn't respond, but why are the people in the distant places so active? Sima Yuyue clapped her hands. But since we are all here, let's go and find out. Murongxi, even if you have lost your memory, you are still so bold. Aren't you afraid of something happening again? Chao Chingan teased. Afraid of what? I'm afraid that I'm not my father's daughter. Sima Yuyue patted Xiao Hei, and everyone continued to move forward. Those who looked down on Sima Yuyue saw that Gongzi Yuan, Chao Chingan, Mu Kaiyan, and Xiao Ruobai had a good attitude towards Sima Yuyue, so they didn't dare to say anything. In their eyes, Sima Yuyue only had the city lord as her father, but she was still a waste in essence. But the other 4 people were different. They were the young masters and young ladies of the strongest families, and they were also the geniuses of their families. This kind of person was the most admirable. If they ridiculed Sima Yuyue and caused their disgust, it would not be worth it. After all, they were all followers of several people, and they still had to rely on them. The group walked for a day before arriving at atavistic Orchid Mountain. Because the mountain was dangerous, everyone found an open place to camp soon after entering the mountain. Sima Yuyue was prepared with these things. Seeing her skillfully take out the tent and set it up, the others looked like they had seen a ghost. When did you learn to set up a tent? Didn't your guards do it before? Xiao Ruobai's tent was next to her. Before her own tent was set up, she saw that Sima Yuyue had already set it up. I haven't eaten pork, but I haven't seen a pig run. Seeing them do it so many times, I learned it myself. Sima Yuyue clapped her hands, opened the tent, got in, and began to decorate the inside. After a while, Gongzi Yuan and the other 3 ran into her tent. They were speechless when they saw the luxurious decorations inside. I say, Murongxi, we are camping here. Why did you bring so many treasures? Don't you find it hard to clean up? Chao Chengan sighed. I'm not here to suffer. Of course, I have to make myself comfortable. Sima Yuyue said, but she was speechless in her heart. Because these were the habits of Murong Shi when she went out in the past, Murong Hui had people send them over. Since she wanted to pretend to be Murong Shi, she naturally had to pay attention to these things. Who knew if there was anyone here who had harmed her last time? You and Ruobai are both young misses. Why is her tent so fresh and elegant while yours looks so worldly? Mu Kai-en also sighed. It's my pleasure. Why do you care? All right, I'm going to sleep now. Hurry up and leave. Sima Yuyue chased everyone out. Gongzi Yuan saw her impatient look and reminded her, we didn't bring any guards with us, so don't go out at night. Be careful of nether beasts. I know. Go out. Sima Yuyue pushed him out and then closed the curtain. Whew, she let out a long breath, then lay down on the big bed and whispered, I don't know how long I will have to use this identity. Alas, it's better to seize the time to cultivate and become an underworld fiend master as soon as possible so that little spirit can get better. The revolution has not succeeded yet. Comrades still need to work hard. She got up from the bed and began to cultivate until the next morning when Gongzi Yuan called her to go out. Why do I feel that your aura seems to be stronger than yesterday? Gongzi Yuan looked at her suspiciously. Is it? You haven't woken up yet. Sima Yuyue finished and went to pack up her things. She put the things she put out yesterday into the space ring. She found that the soul power in atavistic Orchid Mountain was particularly abundant. Last night was her first time cultivating soul power, so the effect was remarkable. She felt that she had touched the barrier of Underworld Fiend Master. As long as she cultivated for a while, she could successfully advance. The closer she went to atavistic Orchid Mountain, the more she found that it was a good place to cultivate. The soul power was too rich. She remembered that the ancestor used his last strength to send her to the ghost realm. Did the ancestor deliberately choose this place? What are you thinking about? Gongzi Yuan waved his hand in front of her. Sima Yuyue came back to her senses, looked at him and asked, What? We have to go. Gongzi Yuan said aggrievedly. After this guy came to the mountain, she was in a trance all day and did not care about him at all. Where are we going? She asked. Did you listen to what we said just now? Chao Chengan said, there are 2 roads here. We will each take one. After dark, we will meet at the foot of the mountain. Whoever has more things in their hands will win. This is your competition? Sima Yuyue asked. This is the first day. There are still a few days left. It's too unskilled to compete in this. She thought these little guys would do something. Don't look down on this. If one of us can get the rumored treasure, he will win. Chao Chengan snorted. In other words, no matter what, whoever gets the treasure will win? Sima Yuyue asked. That's right. What if there is no treasure? Then naturally, whoever has the highest value will win. Sima Yuyue nodded and said to Gongzi Yuan, let's go. Only she and Gongzi Yuan moved. The other 10 people did not move. Only the 2 of us? She asked. Yes, they don't believe that I will win. Gongzi Yuan said, however, I don't need their help. Is it because of me? Sima Yuyue immediately guessed. No, it's just that those people are their followers. My group of followers did not come. Gongzi Yuan laughed and did not care at all. Don't worry, we won't lose. Sima Yuyue patted Gongzi Yuan's shoulder and said affirmatively. Yes. Gongzi Yuan smiled even more brightly, not because he felt that he could really win, but because of what she said, and that, we. Chao Chengan, since you have so many people here, I will go with them. Xiao Ruobai greeted them and caught up with Sima Yuyue and Gongzi Yuan, saying, do you mind if I go with you? Ruobai, you want to go with us? Gongzi Yuan looked at Xiao Ruobai with some surprise. Among so many people, his relationship with Xiao Ruobai was very ordinary. He did not expect that she would choose to help him at this time. I just don't like to be with a lot of flatterers. Xiao Ruobai shrugged as if it was really because of this. Okay. Let's go. Gongzi Yuan agreed. Sima Yuyue naturally had no objection. Looking at Xiao Ruobai, she felt like she was looking at Bei Gong Tang, but when she met Bei Gong Tang, she was colder. She did not know how her little friends were doing now. Chapter 1757. 1 Second to Remember, Love Divided by You? Read book web, update fast, no pop-up window, free to read. She felt that the people and things in the human realm were far away from her. She missed them, but she couldn't see them. When she had the strength to save her mother, she could go back. In the distance, Gongzi Yuan was removing his sword from the underworld beast, and then putting the underworld beast into the space ring. Oh, your luck is really good. You hunted another underworld beast. Xiao Ruobai stood aside with her hands crossed in front of her chest. She didn't want to help. I think so too. This is only the periphery. It's really good luck to encounter so many underworld beasts. Gongzi Yuan captured several underworld beasts in a row and was in a good mood. Although this is the periphery, there will be powerful underworld beasts. You still can't take it lightly. Xiao Ruobai said. I know. However, why do I feel that these spirit beasts took the initiative to come here to die? Gongzi Yuan said with some doubts. When you say that, it seems a bit like it. When these underworld beasts came over, their minds seemed to be a little unclear. Xiao Ruobai said, What did you do? Nothing. I was killing underworld beasts along the way. How could I have time to do anything? Gongzi Yuan said, I wanted to ask if you did something. It seems that it's not you. Could it be? The two turned their eyes to Sima Yuyue at the same time. Sima Yuyue felt their gazes, played with the flower in her hand, and said, Earth Fiend flower will attract low-level underworld beasts, but it has no effect on high-level underworld beasts. You used this to attract the underworld beasts? Gongzi Yuan asked in surprise. When did you do it? Xiao Ruobai was also surprised. They didn't notice that she did it without anyone noticing. Before, I saw some on the side of the road. I thought they looked good, so I picked a few. Sima Yuyue said, We're not breaking the rules, so it's nothing, right? It's nothing. I just didn't expect you to recognize medicinal herbs. Xiao Ruobai said. The last time I was injured, my father didn't allow me to go out. I had nothing to do, so I flipped through a few books. Sima Yuyue made up a story. In fact, she did read some books that introduced medicinal herbs, but they were not in the city lord's mansion. They were from Deja. At that time, he thought that he might come to the world of spirits and souls in the future, so he wanted to understand some things here first. After that, he took some time to read through it a few times and memorized the medicinal herbs inside. He didn't expect that it would come in handy so soon. I didn't expect you to have such talent. If you were willing to spend some time on this before, you wouldn't have been looked down upon for so many years. Xiao Ruobai said. Sima Yuyue shrugged noncommittally. Anyway, this had nothing to do with her. Did you already think of this method? That's why you're so sure that we'll win? Gongzi Yuan said happily. No. I didn't know there was an Earth Fiend flower here. Sima Yuyue said. Then why are you so sure? Did I? Sima Yuyue stared at them blankly. What did she do? Yes. Xiao Ruobai and Gongzi Yuan both nodded affirmatively. Okay. I just think that since there aren't many people, it's useful if it's useful. We have fewer people, so we'll still win. Sima Yuyue said. She didn't know that her confidence would always infect the people around her and make them confident. Even if she had only revealed it unconsciously. Well, I knew it. You would definitely help. Gongzi Yuan said happily. Xiao Ruobai looked at him smirking and despised him in her heart. He was really useless. Then let's continue. Sima Yuyue said. I think your harvest today shouldn't be less than theirs. Just get a little more. Yuan, are we going to grab that treasure? Xiao Ruobai asked. Grab that treasure? Gongzi Yuan thought for a moment. If there's a chance, we can try. Do you really think there is? Sima Yuyue asked. Do you think there isn't? Xiao Ruobai asked. I don't think there is. Otherwise, why would your family be indifferent? Sima Yuyue knew too well about those forces' pursuit of interests. If there really was a treasure, they would be so close to it. It was impossible for them not to participate. Then why do you think those people came? And we haven't met anyone until now, indicating that this happened in the central or inner regions. Ordinary things can't attract them, right? Xiao Ruobai didn't believe it. Maybe it's something else. If we encounter it, we'll naturally know. Sima Yuyue said. But I bet your family knows about it. Otherwise, they wouldn't participate. If you're really curious, you can go back and ask them. Then forget it. If we go out now, it's tantamount to giving up. This is related to my and Chao Qing'an's status. Gongzi Yuan refused without thinking. Let him call that kid big brother, beat him to death. Then let's continue. Sima Yuyue said. I have a hunch that we may really encounter something. Danger? Don't you have someone secretly protecting you? Don't be afraid of danger. After all, those people are not ordinary people. How do you know? Xiao Ruobai stared at her, trying to see through her, but the more she looked, the more she felt that she couldn't understand her. Would a person's amnesia really change so much? She was right. For people like them, even if they didn't have guards, there would be someone secretly protecting them. You forgot, me too. Sima Yuyue raised her eyebrows, climbed onto Xiao Hei's back, and left first. Xiao Ruobai, she thought Sima Yuyue guessed another layer, but it seemed that she thought too much. By the way, why did you young ladies and young masters come to live in a small place like Eternal Brilliant City? Sima Yuyue's voice floated from the front. Gongzi Yuan and Xiao Ruobai paused and looked at each other. She really guessed it? What did you say? Although I lost my memory, it didn't mean that my IQ has dropped. Sima Yuyue said. At first glance, the temperament of the two of you is different from that of Chao Qing'an and the others. You don't seem to come from a small place. Plus, when I said it just now, Ruobai, you looked vigilant. I know that I guessed it right. Xiao Ruobai was startled. Her reaction just now was a bit too much. Why did you come here? Sima Yuyue asked casually. If you don't think it's easy to answer, you don't have to. Both Gongzi Yuan and Xiao Ruobai were silent for a while, and Xiao Ruobai spoke first. You're right, we didn't grow up here. Then why did you come to Eternal Brilliant City? And for so many years? Sima Yuyue asked curiously. Although Eternal Brilliant City is small, its status is not low. Do you know who your father is? Sima Yuyue was surprised. Could it be that Murong Hui was guarding here for some other purpose? Chapter 1758. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web no pop-up window, free to read. Xiao Ruobai saw Sima Yuyue's puzzled look and said, You really don't know? Ruobai, she is not she. So it is normal that she doesn't know Uncle Jian's identity. Gongzi Yuan said. What? You are not Murongxi? Xiao Ruobai looked at Sima Yuyue in surprise. How could it be? I asked Uncle Jian, she, is already. Speaking of Murongxi, Gongzi Yuan was still a little sad. Is it the last time? Xiao Ruobai's face was not very good. Although her relationship with Murongxi was not very good, it was still a human life after all. It was a person she was familiar with. Suddenly hearing that she was gone, she still had some indescribable feelings. Yes. Gongzi Yuan nodded. Xiao Ruobai looked at Sima Yuyue. Why did you pretend to be she? I didn't want to pretend to be her. Sima Yuyue said, it was my cheap father who forced me to do so. Then who are you? Why did you suddenly appear after Shi Er's death? Me? My name is Sima Yuyue. That day, I happened to come to atavistic Orchid Mountain and saw her being chased. Killing people, of course, anyone who sees it must die. So I was chased down the cliff with her. Then I was saved by my cheap father. Sima Yuyue said, when I woke up, they insisted on treating me as her. I couldn't help it. Her words were half true and half false, and it sounded like it was the case. Is what you said true? Xiao Ruobai still felt that it was a little impossible. How could there be such a coincidence? Believe it or not. Sima Yuyue shrugged and did not intend to explain too much. You asked Gongzi Yuan, when I saw him, did I say that I was not Morongshi? Xiao Ruobai turned her eyes to Gongzi Yuan for confirmation, and the latter nodded. Well, you haven't told me yet, who is my cheap father? Sima Yuyue said. Do you know anything about us? Xiao Ruobai asked. Sima Yuyue shook her head. She had just arrived in the ghost realm and so many things had happened. In order not to expose that she was not from the ghost clan, she did not dare to inquire about the situation here. Then what do you know? Xiao Ruobai asked. I used to live in the mountains. This is my first time out, so I don't know anything. Sima Yuyue said. This time, even Gongzi Yuan looked at her with sympathy. Then let's popularize the situation here to you. Xiao Ruobai said, the ghost realm is divided into the ghost realm, soul realm, and infernal hell. Do you know this? Sima Yuyue nodded. She knew about this, but she had only known about it recently. Do you know who the ruler of the ghost realm is? Ghost King? That's right, it's the Ghost King. But you know, the ghost region is so big, it is impossible for the Ghost King to manage every region, so it is divided into many dynasties. The Wangye of these dynasties are all held by the royal family, and it is enough to report to the Ghost King regularly. There are also counties under this dynasty, and the county king is generally related to Wangye. They are either Wangye's relatives or Wangye's capable subordinates. There are countless cities under this county. Gongzi Yuan said. Sima Yuyue understood that this was also a step up. Then what was my cheap father's identity before? She felt that Murong Hui's identity should not be simple, otherwise they would not have said that before. County King. He is a county king. Xiao Ruobai said. My father used to be a county king? Sima Yuyue was surprised, then why did he come here to be a small city lord? Not before. He is now. Gongzi Yuan said, otherwise, why do you think Shi can catch so many gigolos? Can a small city lord control so many people? Sima Yuyue was stunned. Thinking about it, if it was a city lord, he might not be able to control so many people. After all, those men who were robbed couldn't afford to offend a small city lord. So? Sima Yuyue looked at the two. Why are you telling me this? Is it related to the reason why you are here? It's not related, it's the same. Same? Yes. According to legend, there is a treasure in atavistic Orchid Mountain, and the person who gets it can affect the future of the entire ghost realm. Those people think that this is a prophecy to unify the 3 territories. So, naturally, everyone wants to get this treasure. Gongzi Yuan said. Since ancient times, many Wangye and county kings have sent people to atavistic Orchid Mountain to search for treasure, but no one has succeeded. So, my father came here to look for that treasure, and you are the same? Sima Yuyue understood, and the two nodded and continued, so, you are not here for a competition, but to find that treasure. In that case, why are you telling me? Isn't it better if fewer people know about this kind of thing? This is just selling you a favor. Xiao Ruobai said, even if you don't know from us, you will know from others. As long as you meet someone, this matter can't be hidden. Sima Yuyue held her chin and said faintly, I think, whether it is my father or your family, they have already turned this place upside down, right? So, they are so calm when they see others here. Or, they have been secretly paying attention to this place. If the so-called treasure is really born, it is estimated that it will set off a bloody storm immediately. Has anyone ever told you that you are very smart? Gongzi Yuan asked. They had only given her some information, but she had already guessed most of the situation here. Yes, people who have seen me say that I am very smart. Sima Yuyue said narcissistically. However, there is one thing I don't understand. Since this matter has been around for a long time, why did someone come again recently? Sima Yuyue asked. Because some people got the news that there is a change here, and it is very likely that the treasure is born. In fact, the family has already sent people to check in the past few days, and there is no change at all. The whole mountain is the same as before. Xiao Ruobai said. When did the change appear? The 2 days when she had an accident. Gongzi Yuan thought for a while and said, because someone happened to be chasing she, so the families thought that the so-called change was just a dark skill used by the person chasing she. Therefore, the family and the city lord's mansion did not take action. Sima Yoyue's heart moved. The 2 days when Murong she had an accident? Wasn't that when she came to the ghost realm and appeared in the atavistic orchid mountain? That treasure shouldn't be referring to her, right? She patted her face and told herself not to be so narcissistic. The soul power here was so rich, maybe there was really a treasure here. If there is, we can also fight for it. Now, let's hurry to the agreed place, otherwise, Chao Chingan will blindly compete again. Chapter 1759. 1 second to remember, love divided by you? Read book web, update fast, no pop-up window, free to read. The three of them walked towards the meeting place. When they were about to reach the camp, Sima Yuyue said to the two of them, please keep Murong Shi's matter a secret for me. She didn't know the identity of Gongzi Yuan and Xiao Ruobai before, so she didn't tell them so much. She didn't expect Gongzi Yuan to say it. Now many of those people were locals of Eternal Brilliant City, and maybe some of them were colluding with others. So the less people know about this, the better. Okay. Gongzi Yuan's face was a little red, and he was annoyed with his previous behavior. Xiao Ruobai also nodded. It was not a big deal for her. Chao Chingan and the others had already arrived at the meeting place. They had already set up their tents, and a group of people were barbecuing meat around the fire. Chao Chingan saw Gongzi Yuan and the other two, waved his hand and said, you came really late. Did you not get anything? Okay, stop talking. Mu Kai-en poked him, afraid that Gongzi Yuan would be sad. Hee, little un, we don't know who will win yet. Gongzi Yuan walked over with a smile, grabbed the barbecue in Chao Chingan's hand, and took a bite himself. Really? Then let's compete. Let's compete. Sima Yuyue and Xiao Ruobai did not go with Gongzi Yuan. They were not interested in the result. Here. Mu Kai-en gave the barbecue in his hand to her and Xiao Ruobai. Sima Yuyue was startled. Mu Kai-en was not friendly to her before. She didn't expect him to barbecue meat for her at this time. Thank you. She took the barbecue. She didn't eat anything today, so she did feel a little hungry. But the taste of this barbecue was really not flattering. Xiao Ruobai seemed to be used to it. She took the barbecue and ate it in big bites. Seeing her put it down after taking a bite, Xiao Ruobai turned to look at her and asked, what's wrong? Sima Yuyue touched her stomach and looked at the barbecue in her hand. Seeing that there was still unprocessed underworld beast meat on the side, she decided not to let her stomach suffer. She put down the barbecue in her hand, got up and came to the underworld beast. Can you give this to me? Sure. Mu Kai-en nodded. Sima Yuyue cut off a piece of meat and found a stream at the foot of the mountain to wash it. Then, she took out the metal skewers, knives, and other tools on the table and sliced the meat into thin slices. Then, she took out all kinds of seasonings to marinate them and skewered them with metal skewers. Then, she took out her barbecue grill and heated the charcoal. When the temperature was about right, she took the meat to grill. Smelling the familiar scent, she rejoiced in her heart. Fortunately, she didn't put this thing in the treasure pavilion and could still use it. Otherwise, she would be mistreating her stomach. At first, the surrounding people were still talking and laughing, but suddenly, there was silence. She raised her head and saw that everyone was staring at her with a horrified expression. "What is it? Murong-shi, when did you learn how to roast meat?" Chao Chingan smelled the aroma of the barbecued meat and felt that he was about to drool. He ran over and looked at the barbecued meat with shining eyes. When will you recover? It smells so good." Xiao Ruobai also came to her side and asked. "In a while." Sima Yuyue took out cumin and brushed it on the meat with a special brush. The aroma was even more tempting. I want to eat the first batch," Gongzi Yuan requested. "Okay." Sima Yuyue roasted the first batch and then put it on the plate. She left a few skewers for herself and gave the rest to them. Then, she ate while roasting the next batch. The barbecued meat smelled so good, so the taste naturally wouldn't be bad. So, Gongzi Yuan, Xiao Ruobai, Chao Chingan, and Mu Kaiyan divided the plate. The others didn't even get a piece of meat. They could only look at the barbecued meat in Sima Yuyue's hands. It was a pity that Sima Yuyue was someone who bore grudges. She remembered clearly how these people had treated her before. So, they naturally didn't have a share of the barbecued meat. They could only blame themselves for not having Chao Chingan's identity and his relationship with Gongzi Yuan. Mu Kaiyan took a bite and knew why Sima Yuyue couldn't eat what he gave her. It was a world of difference. But they were even more puzzled. When did her young miss become so good at barbecuing? Sima Yuyue didn't plan to cook the barbecued meat after she finished cooking. Gongzi Yuan and the others ate a lot, but they still didn't have enough. As for the others, only in the last batch, each person got a skewer and tasted it. They just realized that they ate the world's most delicious food, but it was gone in the blink of an eye. Their hearts itched. Sima Yuyue saw that they were all looking at her. She ate the last bit and then began to clean up the things. Now that there was no little spirit, these things had to be cleaned before they were taken in. She was now the young miss of the city lord mansion. She had no obligation to make food for them. They also understood this truth, so they could only look at her. When she came back from the stream, the group of people still had the same expression. She ignored them and took out the tent to set up. Let me help you." After the barbecued meat, Chao Chingan directly changed the way he addressed her. Gongzi Yuan walked over and glanced at him contemptuously. "Good little one, now you know how to curry favor with Let me tell you, there is no way. Go away, I really want to help her." "You? Can you? Why can't I? Look at your big and burly appearance." Sima Yuyue picked up the tent and set it up by herself while the two were bickering. "Let me help you," Xiao Ruobai said. "Okay." After she set up the tent, she said thank you to Xiao Ruobai, then got into the tent and didn't come out. After cultivating for a night, they continued on their journey the next day. Needless to say, Xiao Ruobai naturally had to go with them. But before they left, Mu Kaiyan ran over to ask for help and left Chao Chingan alone, saying that they had fewer people. "TSK, you just want to eat Shi-er's delicacies, right?" Gongzi Yuan mercilessly exposed him. "Isn't that a convenient thing?" Mu Kaiyan didn't deny it. Gongzi Yuan looked at Sima Yuyue and asked for her opinion. Sima Yuyue shrugged and didn't care about it. Chao Chingan saw them leave like this and was envious. But he was the one who didn't have the right to go, otherwise, the competition couldn't be carried out. Fortunately, everyone would meet up at night, so he could still have some hope. Gongzi Yuan had Sima Yuyue to help him attract underworld beasts, and Chao Chingan had many people. After a few days, the results of the two were similar, and they also tried their best to find the herbs and underworld beasts that they could find. Xiao Ruobai and the others also intentionally or unintentionally walked towards the central region. On this day, they came to a valley. Sima Yuyue suddenly stopped and looked around with some doubts. What's wrong? Gongzi Yuan was beside her and immediately noticed her strangeness. Chapter 1760. In 1 second, she remembered, Love Divided by You? Read book web no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yuyue looked around and said, why do I feel that this place is so familiar? Xiao Ruobai and Mu Kaiyan also stopped and looked back at her. Familiar? Have you been here before? Gongzi Yuan asked. Sima Yuyue shook her head. I don't know. I have no memory. I just feel that this place is familiar after all. Is this the place where you were chased? Xiao Ruobai asked. There are no traces of fighting here. It shouldn't be the place where I was chased. Mu Kaiyan denied this statement. Did you do something here? Sima Yuyue still shook her head. Her memory before she woke up in the city lord's mansion was very vague. She didn't know what was special about this place. She looked around. The terrain here was ordinary and the soul power was ordinary. There shouldn't be anything worth her attention. She continued to walk forward and turned a corner. When she saw the scenery in front of her, she was stunned. What a large field of mandala flowers! Xiao Ruobai exclaimed in surprise. Sima Yuyue saw the mandala flowers all over the valley and finally knew why she felt that this place was familiar. In her vague memory, the first thing she saw when she opened her eyes was this large field of mandala flowers. At that time, she was in a daze and didn't think much about it. She got up and left. Now that she thought about it, the old ancestor wouldn't have sent her here casually. So, there should be something here. She came to the middle of the sea of flowers and came to the place where she woke up according to her memory. There were traces of her lying here. Do you remember anything? No. I just feel that there should be something here. It's like I've been here before in a dream. Sima Yuyue reached out and rummaged on the ground for a while, but she didn't find anything. Suddenly, her hand touched the ground. She felt that it was very warm here. It was different from the ordinary ground. She pulled out all the mandala flowers above. The other 3 people saw this and came over. Is there anything special about this ground? The temperature here is different. Sima Yuyue said. Gongzi Yuan squatted down and touched it. There's nothing different. It's just a little warmer. Can't you feel it? Sima Yuyue touched the ground. There's a gentle force here. There's something down here. It can't be. We didn't feel anything. Mu Kaiyan didn't believe it. Then, when I dig up treasures later, you can't snatch them from me. Sima Yuyue said as she took out a shovel and began to dig the ground that she had circled out. She dug until she was as tall as a person, but there was nothing. Let me help you dig. Gongzi Yuan saw that her clothes were stained with mud and said from above the pit. No need. You're not sensitive to the temperature. You might hurt that thing. Sima Yuyue refused. When she dug to the end, she would feel the temperature of the soil every time she dug a layer. After digging another half a meter, she finally found something that looked like a rock at the bottom. She gave up on the shovel and used her hands to dig. Soon, she dug out a piece of milky white jade. What is this? The 3 people above had been staring at her, so when the jade was exposed, they immediately noticed it. I don't know. Sima Yuyue reached out and touched it. The jade was very warm and comfortable to the touch. She carefully threw away the surrounding soil and found that the jade was nearly as long as a person. It was 50 or 60 centimeters wide and more than 30 centimeters thick. It was comparable to the single beds she had seen in her previous life. She removed all the surrounding soil, and then Gongzi Yuan jumped down and moved the jade out with her. What jade is this? Little Yuan, do you know it? Mu Kaiyan asked. According to my family's research on jade, this jade. I have never seen it before. Gongzi Yuan circled the jade, but still didn't see anything special. I also think this jade is very ordinary. It doesn't seem to contain any ghost energy. Xiao Ruobai said. But if it's not a treasure, why would she dig it out? Mu Kaiyan felt that Sima Yuyue should be a person who didn't get up early without benefits. If this thing was useless, she wouldn't dig it out. This is a soul stone. Sima Yuyue climbed up from the pit and said, the soul stone has no effect on the general ghost clan, but it has a great effect on the soul. It's a treasure for soul cultivators. And this soul stone is so big, it's rare in the world. How do you know this? Mu Kaiyan asked. Didn't I hurt my soul last time? I found some books on this during this period of time. Sima Yuyue stroked the jade and felt a burst of comfort in her body. Since your soul is hurt, then you can put this thing away. Gongzi Yuan said, anyway, this thing is useless to us. Sima Yuyue looked at Xiao Ruobai and Mu Kaiyan. Little Yuan is right, this thing is not of much use to us. Besides, you found it, so it's yours. Mu Kaiyan said. Well, I need this, so I won't be polite with you. She suppressed the joy in her heart and put the entire soul stone away. In fact, she didn't lie to them. This soul stone was not of much use to ghost cultivators, but for soul cultivators, this small piece would cause a lot of people to fight over it. Not to mention this one as big as a single bed. If soul cultivators found it, it would definitely be the treasure of their sect. In the future, if she sat on it to cultivate, it would get twice the result with half the effort. If she didn't cultivate, even if she just slept on it, it would be comparable to ordinary cultivation. So, for her, this was simply a treasure of treasures. She knew it, the old ancestor sent her here, it was definitely not random. It was just that she was too muddle-headed at the time and didn't find this treasure. Seeing her beaming with joy, Gongzi Yuan was dazed. Xiao Ruobai felt embarrassed and pulled him back, only then did he come back to his senses. Congratulations on getting such a treasure. You say, such a good thing, shouldn't we celebrate? Mu Kaiyan also found Gongzi Yuan's embarrassing appearance, but his focus was on other things. Sima Yuyue looked at the three of them more affectionately than before. In fact, she could have waited until she was alone before coming back to find the treasure. The reason why she chose to dig now was to test the three of them. After getting along with them for a few days, she felt that the three of them were not bad, but there was no conflict of interest, so she couldn't completely see their character. Now it seemed that she could at least try to deepen their relationship. Okay. Anyway, it's almost noon now, I'll make something delicious for you. She smiled. Okay. Is it still barbecue? Sima Yuyue glanced at the impatient Mu Kaiyan and said, who wants to eat barbecue at noon? In the end, she made a few dishes for everyone. Because the ingredients were not from the spirit pagoda, but from the mountains, the taste was not very good. But for Mu Kaiyan and the others, it was already delicious. The three of them buried their heads in eating, while Sima Yuyue looked behind Mu Kaiyan, who was sitting opposite her, and frowned. Chapter 1761. In 1 second, she remembered, love divided by you? Read book web quick update, no pop-up window, free to read. Her gaze was so intense that the three people who were engrossed in eating noticed it. What's wrong? Mu Kaiyan thought she was looking at him and asked. We are in trouble. Sima Yuyue said. Trouble? Are the people around you powerful? Sima Yuyue asked. How much trouble? How powerful? Divine beast. Sima Yuyue said, the underworld beast that came is a divine beast. Sima Yuyue sighed in her heart. With her strength before, there was no need to fear a little divine beast. Now when encountering a divine beast, she could only rely on external forces. Mi air could be dealt with, but she was used to keeping some trump cards for herself. Exposing it too early was putting her life on the chopping board. It was wise to pretend to be a pig to eat a tiger. Therefore, if it was not the last moment and her life was in danger, she could not expose me heir. Divine beast? How can there be a divine beast here? There are only a few divine beasts in atavistic Orchid Mountain, and they all live in the inner region. This is the inner region. How can those divine beasts come here? Mu Kai En smiled and turned his head. He wanted to say that it was nothing at all. As a result, he was stunned at a glance. Damn, it's really a divine beast. Although Xiao Ruobai and the others were surprised, they did not panic. Well, should we run away? Sima Yuyue asked. No need. It's just a divine beast. Gongzi Yuan said lightly. Each of us has an underworld royal master with us. It's not impossible to deal with a divine beast. Mu Kaiyan said. Isn't it agreed that we can't rely on external forces? We are talking about the content of the competition. You can only rely on yourself. In this case, divine beasts will not be part of the competition. Gongzi Yuan explained, although we like to play, we still know the importance of our own lives. Sima Yuyue nodded. Since they said so, she was not worried. The three of them didn't notice that Sima Yuyue, who didn't even have any spiritual energy, was able to sense the danger before them. In front of delicious food, his IQ had dropped. Sima Yuyue was a little nervous when the mythical beast approached her. However, an old man appeared before the mythical beast. Whose is this? It's mine. Gongzi Yuan said, come, let's continue eating. Sima Yuyue looked at the battle over there. The young master's guards were indeed not bad. They were not at a disadvantage in the battle with the divine beast. She then prepared to continue eating. However, she only took a few bites before she stopped. And, this time, it came especially fast. Before anyone could react, a big black bird flew over from afar. Just as it was about to reach them, another middle-aged man appeared out of nowhere and intercepted it. Why are there two of them? Before Xiao Ruobai finished speaking, Sima Yuyue said in another direction, there are more over there. Before the mythical beast could get close, it was stopped by the guards who were waiting there. The mythical beast in the east is very powerful. My guards can't resist it. Mu Kai-en said. Then should we go and help? Gongzi Yuan and the others were not in the mood to eat at the moment. How could so many mythical beasts suddenly appear? Puff, the strength of Mu Kai-en's guards was a small level lower than the mythical beast. They were flung away by the mythical beast's wings. Elder Guang. Mu Kai-en saw his guards injured and hurried over, but he was almost hurt by the big black bird. Fortunately, at the last moment, Sima Yoyue's guards appeared and fought with the big black bird. Elder Guang, how are you? Mu Kai-en helped Elder Guang up and gave him a pill. Young master, this mythical beast is too powerful. We are not their opponents at all. Let's leave quickly. Elder Guang grabbed Mu Kai-en's hand and said. Mu Kai-en looked back at the battle over there. Except for the Murong family, who was evenly matched, the other two were at a disadvantage and felt that they could not hold on for long. Little Yuan, Ruobai, Shi, let's run away quickly. He shouted to the three. Xiao Ruobai and the others also understood the current situation. It was best to escape. But, they. Xiao Ruobai didn't want to leave her guards behind. Ruobai, if we don't leave now, we will also be finished. Mu Kai-en shouted. Young miss, go quickly. If you leave, we can escape easily. The Xiao family's guards shouted. Your guards are right. With us here, they can't leave even if they have the chance. Gongzi Yuan said, let's go. So, the 5 people fled in the direction they came from. Sima Yuyue didn't have spiritual power, so she called out Xiao He and climbed on his back, telling him to escape. Xiao He saw the 3 mythical beasts and opened his mouth to whimper twice. Sima Yuyue thought he wanted to play, patted his back and said, don't play, let's go. Xiao He reluctantly ran away. Originally, they thought that after they left, the guards would have to fight fiercely before leaving. Unexpectedly, the mythical beasts no longer wanted to fight and wanted to find an opportunity to chase after them. The goal of these mythical beasts was the young master and young miss. They couldn't let them chase after them. So, the scene became that there were people escaping in front, and there were mythical beasts chasing after them. The guards who originally wanted to escape tried to block their way. Sima Yuyue and the others ran for a long time, but the mythical beasts didn't give up. They changed their route many times, but they were still chased by the mythical beasts. Why do I feel that their goal seems to be young Miss Shi? After all, Elder Guang had a lot of experience. After a few times, he found that the mythical beast's eyes were locked on Sima Yuyue. When he said this, everyone stopped and looked at Sima Yuyue together. Elder Guang, are you mistaken? Gongzi Yuan said in a deep voice. Didn't he say that all of this was caused by Sima Yuyue? Elder Guang, little Yuan is right. Are you mistaken? Mu Kai and asked. Young master, I won't be mistaken. Elder Guang said, I have observed several times, the mythical beast's eyes are locked on young Miss Shi. If we stay together, everyone will be dragged down. It's better for us to separate. The atmosphere was awkward for a few seconds. In these few seconds, everyone's heart turned several times. Elder Guang is right. If we stay together, it's easy to be attacked by the mythical beasts. It's safer to separate. Sima Yuyue said with a smile. No. Gongzi Yuan immediately objected. You don't have spiritual power. If you are caught, you will die. I can't leave you behind. That's right. Xiao Ruobai also echoed. If you come out with us, if something happens, we won't be able to explain it to your father. Elder Guang, since everyone is, young master. Elder Guang interrupted Mu Kai En. Don't forget that you are responsible for the family. If something happens to you here, can you live up to the family's cultivation? Chapter 1762. In 1 second, she remembered, love divided by you? Read book web no pop-up window, free to read. Elder Guang's words immediately blocked Mu Kaien's words. Sima Yuyue smiled and said, it doesn't matter. It's better for everyone to go separately now. Then let's go separately. Elder Guang did not wait for Xiao Ruobai to speak and spoke first for Mu Kaien. Miss Xiao, Gongzi, young master, do you want to go together? You go first. Xiao Ruobai said lightly. Then we'll take our leave first. Elder Guang finished speaking and continued to run forward with Mu Kaien. Yuyue, the Mu family has always been like this. You don't have to take it to heart. Gongzi Yuan comforted. I didn't take it to heart. Sima Yuyue shrugged. I don't take ordinary people and things to heart. It's so tiring. Although she did think that she could try to get in touch with these people, she didn't really treat him as a friend, so there was nothing sad about being abandoned at this time. He chose a direction. There are divine beasts behind, so we can only choose one. She continued, you two go that way, I'll go this way. We'll go with you. Gongzi Yuan said. No. Sima Yuyue shook her head. As Elder Guang said, Mu Kaien has the hope of the family, so do you too. Speaking of which, we have only known each other for a few days. You don't have to go with me. But you don't have spiritual power. If you are caught by the divine beasts, you will be in danger. Gongzi Yuan said. If you are with me, we will die together. We don't have time to talk about this. You go that way, I'll go this way. After Sima Yuyue finished speaking, she patted Xiao He and ran in the direction she said. If these divine beasts were really coming for her, then she would have to consider letting the air come out. If they followed her, it would be more inconvenient for her. However, before she ran a few hundred meters, there was movement behind her. She turned her head and saw that Gongzi Yuan and Xiao Ruobai had caught up. You, we'd better go with you. Xiao Ruobai said, I'm not sure if it's because of you. If so, we'll leave you behind when they catch up. Hurry up and run. As they spoke, the two of them had already passed by her and continued running forward. Sima Yuyue shook her head helplessly as she watched the two leave. However, the smile on her face showed that she was in a good mood. However, what they didn't notice was that the route they were running on wasn't the way out at all. Instead, they were running in the direction of the inner circle. The way out was getting further and further away from them. The three of them came to the edge of a cliff. Sima Yuyue looked at the cliff and smiled bitterly. I actually came here again. None of them had the ability to fly yet, so there was nothing they could do about the cliff. Have you been here before? This is the place where Murong Shi and I fell off the cliff. Sima Yuyue turned around and wanted to go back, but found that it was impossible. The three mythological beasts had blocked the middle of the road, and the guards were nowhere to be seen. It was unknown whether they were dead or not. It's over. Both of you are going to die with me. Sima Yuyue said. Although I thought about death, I didn't expect to die here so early. There was some regret in Xiao Ruobai's words, but there was no regret. She never regretted her decisions. The path she chose, she would finish it even if she had to kneel. The cliff behind, you were able to survive last time. This time, we should have no problem, right? Gongzi Yuan said. It's hard to say. Sima Yuyue didn't remember what it was like below, nor did she know how she survived. She had no impression at all. However, they definitely won't let us survive. The three of them looked at the three mythological beasts. Well, even if they didn't die after falling, they would chase them down and kill them. What should we do now? Xiao Ruobai asked. Sima Yuyue felt that these three mythological beasts were a bit strange. She stood in place and was not in a hurry to kill them. She stepped forward and asked, Are you here for me? Boss wants to see you. The big black bird said. N? You're not here to kill us? Sima Yuyue was startled. Could it be that they were wrong? I want to curse. What are you humans thinking? We are not here to kill you. Why are you running? Another mythological beast, the cheetah, had a bad temper and slammed the ground hard. Yuyue and the other two were embarrassed. It turned out that they really didn't intend to kill them. Then why were they running? Who is your boss? Who does he want to see? Xiao Ruobai asked. You. The cheetah pointed its claws at Sima Yuyue. Why does your boss want to see me? Sima Yuyue asked curiously. Boss wants to see you. How would we know why? Another mythological beast was a little impatient. She is just a little girl. She actually wants the three of us to invite her. Boss has his own arrangements. The big black bird reprimanded. Okay, little girl, please come with us. Okay. Sima Yuyue nodded and was about to walk over, but two people grabbed her arm. Yuyue, you can't go. Who knows what they are planning? Gongzi Yuan said worriedly. Yes, it's better to be careful. Xiao Ruobai said. Sima Yuyue looked at the two and smiled. Don't worry, nothing will happen. If there is danger, it won't wait until now. Besides, can the three of us beat the three of them? When she said this, both of them were stunned for a moment. Then they let go of her hand and said, We will accompany you. Sima Yuyue looked back at the three mythological beasts. Seeing that they did not object, she nodded and said, Okay. Many years later, when she stood at the top of the world, she asked them why they chose to be with her at that time. Gongzi Yuan said lightly, I brought you out. Naturally, I have to take you back. But his true thoughts were not just that. Xiao Ruobai shrugged and said, I guess I was crazy at that time. At that time, although she felt that Sima Yuyue was not bad, she was far from the point of sacrificing her life for her. Why did she choose to be with her at that time? She really felt that her brain was not normal, however, she was glad that she made this decision at that time. If she had even flinched a little at that time, the relationship between the two would not be so good. The three of them followed the three mythological beasts to the inner area and came to the highest mountain in the middle. The big black bird said to Sima Yuyue, "I will only take you up." After that, it grabbed her two shoulders and flew her to the top of the mountain, leaving Gongzi Yuan and Xiao Ruobai by at the foot of the mountain. Sima Yuyue felt so bad. She was taken by a little mythological beast to see their boss in this position. She had never experienced this before. Chapter 1763. 1 second to remember, love divided by you? Read book web, update fast, no pop-up window, free to read. After the big black bird brought her to the top of the mountain, it put her on the ground and said, "Come with me." Sima Yuyue carried Little Black and followed it to the edge of the cliff. As soon as they got closer, they saw a small gray bird resting on the crooked tree at the edge of the cliff. It seemed to be still sleeping, its little head nodding. The big black bird was used to this and said, "Boss, I've brought her." "Okay." Little gray bird opened its eyes and looked at Sima Yuyue. She knew that it was a sacred beast. However, it was only a sacred beast that had just been promoted. She contacted Mi-Air. Although Mi-Air's strength was limited, it was more than enough to deal with a sacred beast and a sacred beast. "When will you find a mineral vein?" "I'll absorb the things inside." Mi-Air finally asked. "Okay." Sima Yuyue agreed. "You're that person?" Little gray bird looked at Sima Yuyue. After waiting for so many years, it turned out to be like this. "Why are you looking for me?" Sima Yuyue asked, not ignoring the words, "After waiting for so many years. Has it been waiting for me?" Little gray bird suddenly opened its mouth. Sima Yuyue thought it was going to spit out a big move, but it held it for a long time before spitting out a black bead. "Phew, I'm finally comfortable." Little gray bird flapped its wings and felt its whole body relax. The little black bead flew to Sima Yuyue. Sima Yuyue looked at the bead that was still dripping with saliva and took out a handkerchief to wrap it up. As soon as she held it in her hand, she felt a gentle force enter her body, similar to the feeling of the soul jade. "What is this?" She put away the excitement in her heart and looked at Little Gray Bird. "I don't know what it is." The little gray bird's answer was beyond her expectations. "When I was still a little bird, someone came to me with this bead and told me to keep it safe. If I met someone who could make this bead react, I should give it to her. I didn't expect to wait so long for you to come. I've turned from a little bird to an old bird." "Who gave it to you?" Sima Yuyue asked. "I don't know." Little Gray Bird replied, "At that time, this bead was not quiet at all, and it attracted a lot of people. Fortunately, I was smart enough to swallow it, and those people did not find it. Otherwise, I might not have been able to keep it until you came. Now, I've finally completed my mission. Thank you." Although she didn't know who left it for her, Little Gray Bird had kept it for her for so many years, so it deserved her thanks. He didn't expect that there really was a legendary treasure here. Those people had been looking for it for so many years, but to no avail. Now, she had actually obtained it. "Don't thank me so quickly. That person said that you can give me what I want," Little Gray Bird said. Sima Yuyue put away the bead and asked, "What can I give you?" "I have nothing now, I'm just a poor person." Although she used to have a lot of treasures, they were all useful in the human world. And now they were all sealed. Except for the jade bed that Murong Hui gave her, she really had nothing. "I want to transform," Little Gray Bird said. "He said you can help me." Sima Yuyue's mouth twitched. This condition was really, "Do you know that you have to go through a thunder tribulation to transform?" she asked. "Of course I know. That's why I asked you for help," Little Gray Bird said. When it was still a little bird, it had always been eager to transform. After waiting for so many years, it finally cultivated its strength to become a sacred beast, and waited for the person who could help it. If the underworld beast wanted to transform, the thunder tribulation it experienced was even more terrifying. Because the thunder tribulation not only represented the punishment of the heavens, but also had a restraining effect on everything in the ghost realm. Even she, who used to treat lightning strikes as a common occurrence, did not dare to provoke the thunder tribulation now. You. Before she could finish her words, she was horrified. Little Gray Bird had already triggered the thunder tribulation. How impatient it was. She didn't know when Little Black Bird had left. Now only she and Little Gray Bird were left on the top of the mountain. As soon as the thunder tribulation started, it locked her in. She wanted to curse in her heart. With her current strength, she couldn't even withstand the smallest thunder tribulation, let alone the thunder tribulation of the level of the thunder tribulation. Now that the thunder tribulation had locked her in, she couldn't escape even if she wanted to. Was she going to die with this stupid bird today? Seeing the stupid bird jumping happily on the branch, she wanted to go up and tear it apart. But Little Gray Bird was in a good mood. After waiting for so many years, it finally waited for this day. After today, it would be able to transform. It was happy and looked at the tribulation clouds with a sense of familiarity. I say, stupid bird, I don't have any spiritual power at all. How can I help you pass the tribulation? What? Little Gray Bird was stunned and looked at her blankly. What did you say? Haven't you noticed that I don't have any strength at all? Sima Yuyue asked helplessly. I thought you used some secret method to hide. Little Gray Bird said, Isn't that so? Of course not. Then where did your strong aura come from? Little Gray Bird was completely stunned. Could it be that it was wrong? I can't explain it to you. Sima Yuyue looked up at the tribulation clouds. Once the thunder tribulation began, it would not dissipate unless the target died or the thunder tribulation ended. At the foot of the mountain, Xiao Ruobai and Gongzi Yuan were stunned when they saw the tribulation clouds. The ghost clan had a bone-deep fear of the tribulation clouds. Even the underworld Grand Masters and underworld Royal Masters would be scared when they saw this, not to mention the two of them. What's going on? Gongzi Yuan felt that all his strength had been drained. I don't know. Xiao Ruobai wanted to calm herself down, but her trembling body betrayed her true situation. At this time, the big black bird swooped down from the top of the mountain, grabbed them with one claw, and flew them out of the thunder tribulation range. Where's Yuyue? Gongzi Yuan asked anxiously when he saw the big black bird come down by itself and did not see Sima Yuyue. She's accompanying boss to cross the tribulation. The big black bird said. What? Gongzi Yuan and Xiao Ruobai shouted, How could this be? She will die. Gongzi Yuan said as he was about to run down to save Sima Yuyue, but the big black bird slapped him into the soil with its wings. Neither of you are allowed to go. The big black bird stared at the two with some killing intent in its eyes. If the power of the thunder tribulation increased because of their interference, the success rate would be even smaller. Xiao Ruobai saw Gongzi Yuan, who was half buried in the soil, and nodded stiffly. They couldn't escape the control of the divine beast and could only look at the thunder tribulation, silently praying for Sima Yuyue, hoping that she could survive. Although, in their hearts, they all knew that the possibility was almost zero. Chapter 1764. 1 Second to Remember, Love Divided by You? Read book web, quick update, no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yuyue was also very anxious at this time. She couldn't take out the lightning-proof things in the spirit pagoda. She didn't have the strength, and the purple thunder was not here. What could she use to resist the power of the thunder punishment? The more she thought about it, the angrier she became, and she regretted it very much. If she knew this would happen, she wouldn't have come to see this stupid bird. The whole area of the thunder punishment was now filled with the elements of thunder and lightning. She, who didn't have the strength, now touched these, and her body was in pain from the electricity. No wonder the people of the Ghost Clan are so afraid of the thunder punishment. She frowned in pain. This kind of natural suppression was really uncomfortable. Suddenly, she felt that the thunder elements were drilling into her body. She felt as if her whole body was being torn apart, and her soul was about to fall apart. How can this be? She screamed in her heart, why am I still so sensitive to thunder and lightning in the ghost realm? This was an advantage for her, but now she was a ghost, and this was double the pain for her. Was she going to die before the thunder punishment even started? She just came to the ghost realm not long ago. She hadn't started to cultivate, she hadn't found her mother, she hadn't had time to go back and see her old friends. Was she going to die like this? Her heart was in more pain than her body. Oh, a satisfied sigh sounded in her ear, and her desperate heart instantly saw the light. Little Z, is that you? She asked excitedly. There was no answer. However, the speed of the surrounding thunder elements entering her body was increasing rapidly. The severe pain made her suffer, and she didn't even have the strength to think. She only felt that her body was about to be torn apart. She estimated that she would really die here today. Just when she felt that her body had reached its limit, and she would die if she absorbed a little more, her body finally stopped. Then a gentle force spread from her abdomen, and her body that was on the verge of collapse solidified again, and the pain slowly dissipated. Meow, this baby finally woke up. You, did you miss this baby? The excited voice clearly came. Sima Yuyue was sure this time that she wasn't hallucinating. This guy really followed her soul to the ghost realm. Although the pain disappeared, she was still weak and didn't want to move. Miss you? Well, I miss it and hate it at the same time, she answered weakly. If it wasn't for her, he wouldn't have suffered like this. However, if he didn't have it, he probably wouldn't be able to withstand the lightning tribulation. She looked at the tribulation clouds in the sky. Why did it feel so familiar? Could it be that cloud spirit fellow? Before she could confirm it, a lightning whip fell from the sky and wrapped around her body, bringing her into the air. Looking at Cloud Spirit's familiar eyes, Sima Yuyue confirmed that it was really Cloud Spirit. How did you end up like this? Cloud Spirit looked at her with disdain. I didn't dare to bring you up here before I woke up the purple thunder. Otherwise, that whip would have destroyed your soul. Hee, it's a little tragic. Sima Yuyue could not deny that she was a little unlucky. Why did you come to the world of spirits and souls? This is my territory. Cloud Spirit said, how did you die? Who else can kill you? I couldn't control the power in my body and exploded. Cloud Spirit looked at her speechlessly. It's rare to die like you. Sigh, a real man doesn't boast about his past achievements. Sima Yuyue said helplessly. However, I didn't expect that the first familiar person I met after I died would be you. Not bad. At least she wouldn't die today. Humph, if you met someone else, you'd be dead. Cloud Spirit snorted. You dare to trigger the lightning tribulation with such little power. If it was in the past, 2 bolts of lightning would have struck you. Then please be merciful this time. After all, I owe him a favor. Sima Yuyue said. Why do you need me to repay the favor you owe? Cloud Spirit glared at her. Aren't we good friends? Sima Yuyue said with a smile. Good friends should help each other, right? Humph. You said you would give me fruit wine last time, but you stood me up too. Cloud Spirit said unhappily. Sima Yuyue smiled. I was busy at that time. Now that I have time, I'll get it for you. Don't you have any stock? Cloud Spirit licked its lips. It's locked up. Without spiritual power, it can't be opened. Sima Yuyue sighed. After a while, when I cultivate spiritual power, I'll be able to open it. I've saved a lot of stock over the years, I'll give it to you then. You said it yourself. Don't stand me up this time. Otherwise, I'll hack you to death and scatter your soul, leaving nothing behind. The Cloud Spirit was very resentful about being stood up last time. Okay, I'll keep my promise this time. Sima Yuyue promised. Humph, I'll believe you this time. Cloud Spirit said. However, you don't have any power now. You might die before you cultivate spiritual power. Then I can't do anything about it. Sima Yue shrugged. Power wasn't something that could be obtained just because you wanted it. Come with me. Cloud Spirit said and turned to leave. Sima Yue stepped on the cloud. It was the first time she walked on the cloud without power. She had a feeling that she would fall. She followed Cloud Spirit to the middle of the cloud and saw a pool platform. She remembered where she was. Last time, she got a lot of thunder liquid here. Let the guy in your body come out. Cloud Spirit said unwillingly. Sima Yue was startled and then understood that it was talking about Little Purple. Don't you want to eat it like last time? She called out top-grade purple thunder. At this time, Little Purple was still a ball of purple gas. Although it could talk, it couldn't transform. Can your body take it? Cloud Spirit rolled its eyes at her, grabbed Little Purple and threw it into the thunder pool. Its rude look showed how much it cared about it. Meow, so comfortable. After top-grade purple thunder entered the thunder pool, it quickly drank all the thunder liquid. Then, without waiting for Cloud Spirit to speak, it came out of the thunder pool and jumped into the center of the pool. Sima Yue found that the more thunder liquid the top-grade purple thunder drank, the more solid its body became. In the end, it turned into a purple kitten. When it finished drinking all the thunder liquid, Cloud Spirit was about to cry. Sima Yue patted its head and said, I'll give you more fruit wine later so that you can drink it every day. I'll come and find you next time. Cloud Spirit looked at her meaningfully. That deep look made Sima Yue have a bad feeling. Okay, it's almost time. You can go down. After saying that, it sent Sima Yue back to the ground. Sima Yue just stood still when she heard a cry above her head. She looked up and saw top-grade purple thunder being thrown down rudely. She was speechless. Cloud Spirit was really awkward. Chapter 1765. 1 second to remember, love divided by you? Read book web, quick update, no pop-up window, free to read. Meow, bang, Sima Yue saw the dust splashed on the ground and felt sorry for Little Purple for 2 seconds. Abominable Cloud Spirit, you are jealous. Little Z got up from the ground and shouted at the Cloud Spirit in the air. Bang, a bolt of lightning struck Little Purple directly, indicating the Cloud Spirit's response to it. Sima Yue was speechless. Did the Cloud Spirit forget that the lightning was a great supplement for Little Purple? Little Gray Bird was shocked when it saw the lightning, but when it saw that it was not struck on its body, it breathed a long sigh of relief. Sima Yue went up and picked up Little Purple. Seeing it like this, she reminded it, the tribulation is about to begin. Ah! Before Little Gray Bird had time to say that it regretted it, a bolt of lightning struck down and directly fell on its body, striking its body out. Chi, a smell of roasted bird meat spread out. Sima Yue looked at its burnt feathers and mourned for it for 3 minutes. She stood in the same place, and the lightning did not strike her at all, directly ignoring her. Wah wah, Little Gray Bird cried on the ground. Because it was too scared, it directly covered its head with its bare wings. Sima Yue, she really wanted to say, if you are so afraid of death, you dare to go through the tribulation and transform? Okay, don't look like you are going to die in the next second. If you don't use your spiritual power to resist the lightning tribulation, you are going to die. She shouted at it. Wah wah wah, I'm scared. Little Gray Bird said in pain. I have already agreed with the Cloud Spirit that the lightning tribulation given to you will not kill you. But if you continue to be like this, then I can't help it. Sima Yue said, it's up to you. When Little Gray Bird heard her say this, it had some confidence in its heart. It looked up at the tribulation cloud and bravely said, then I will try. After that, it tried to mobilize the power in its body and attack the lightning tribulation. Seeing its posture, the spirit beasts of atavistic Orchid Mountain admired it. Boss is so powerful. He actually dared to resist the heavenly thunder directly. That's right. It would be great if we could have such strength one day. Ha ha ha, are you jealous of boss? Then go and cultivate properly. The beasts of the atavistic Orchid Mountain were all motivated at this time. In the following days, the entire atavistic Orchid Mountain rarely saw any underworld beasts. They all went into closed-door cultivation. Those who came to atavistic Orchid Mountain to seek treasures were also attracted by the thunder tribulation and rushed here. Why would a sacred beast choose to transform? Could it be that it has the confidence to survive the lightning tribulation? Could it be because of the treasure? What does the manifestation lightning tribulation have to do with treasures? We've been here for so long, but we haven't gained anything. We don't even have a few decent underworld beasts. I think we should go back as soon as possible. You won't get anything. What's the rush? No matter what, he had to wait until the lightning tribulation was over. I want to see if that sacred beast can successfully cross the tribulation. That's true. Mu Kaiyan met Chao Chingan and the others. When he saw Chao Chingan and Uncle Guang, he asked, "Where are she, and the others?" Mu Kaiyan was embarrassed for a moment, and then said, "We were attacked by 3 sacred beasts. We split up and fled halfway." Chao Chingan didn't think much about it. Generally, when they encountered such a situation, they would flee separately. The possibility of survival was greater. I don't know which sacred beast is transforming. He looked in the direction of the lightning tribulation. I don't know how little Yuan and the others are now. They should be fine. Mu Kaiyan said without confidence. Let's go and see the sacred beast. Chao Chingan said. Let's not go. In case something happens, it's too late for us to escape. Mu Kaiyan said, we didn't bring any guards. Chao Chingan thought about it and gave up. At this time, in the direction of Eternal Brilliant City, all the forces were alarmed by the vision of atavistic Orchid Mountain, and many people rushed over there. Murong Hui and the patriarchs of several families were strong and soon arrived at atavistic Orchid Mountain. They saw groups of people, but they didn't see their own juniors and contacted them one after another. Murong Hui and the patriarchs of Shao family and Gongzi family found Murong Bai and Gongzi Yuan together. Seeing the two of them, the patriarchs of Shao family and Gongzi family were relieved. However, when they saw the sacred beast Big Black Bird, they still sweated in their hearts. Fortunately, the two of them were fine. If something happened, how could they explain it to their families? Where is she, A class equals, __CF _email _ref equals, /CDNCGI/L/email protection, email protected, saw Sima Yue and asked. She. Gongzi Yuan and Shao Ruobai stopped talking. What's wrong with her? Murong Hui's heart sank. Did something happen to her again? Who did it? Shao Ruobai pointed to the lightning tribulation area and said, she is inside. She is in the lightning tribulation? Murong Hui couldn't believe it. How could she be there? Didn't she know how to escape when the lightning tribulation came? Gongzi Yuan looked at the big black bird, and then told him about the 3 sacred beasts chasing them, bringing them here, and bringing Sima Yue up the mountain alone. Uncle Hui, don't worry. We have been looking over there. Every tribulation lightning struck the sacred beast. She should be fine now. Shao Ruobai comforted. How is that possible? Wasn't she also targeted by the lightning tribulation? Shao family patriarch said in surprise. We don't know, but we paid special attention to it. It was really all on the sacred beast. Gongzi Yuan said. City Lord, in that case, you don't have to worry too much. We'll just wait. Gongzi family patriarch said. We can only wait. Murong Hui looked at the tribulation clouds. They could only wait here and couldn't do anything. Because any participation would be harmful to the people in the lightning tribulation. Even though he was going easy on them, it still took him more than half an hour. Cloud Spirit finally said, don't forget, and then patted its butt and left. Sima Yuyue was reminded one last time and laughed helplessly. This guy would definitely keep a close eye on her this time. A black light flashed. She looked over and saw the bald little gray bird was shrouded in black light. This guy, after crying the whole process, finally got what he wanted. Murong Hui's slightly anxious and worried voice came. She looked back and saw Murong Hui and the others rushing over. Father. Sima Yuyue carried little Z over. Why are you here? We heard the movement here and came. Murong Hui pulled her and looked carefully. Are you okay? Sima Yuyue saw the worry in his eyes and knew that he might think of his daughter because she looked like her. Father, I'm fine. She smiled. Are you really okay? Murong Hui didn't believe it. How could someone who had experienced the lightning tribulation be okay? He pulled her over and checked her carefully. He really didn't find any scars on her body. Chapter 1766. In 1 second, she remembered, Love divided by you? Read book web no pop-up window, free to read. Gongzi Yuan and the others also came up and looked at Sima Yuyue in surprise. Are you really okay? Xiao Ruobai patted her body and found that she really didn't have any hidden injuries. How could it be? Xiao Clan's patriarch looked at Sima Yuyue suspiciously. What secret technique did you use? Sima Yuyue didn't know who this person was, but looking at his temperament and strength, it was estimated that he was similar to Murong Hui. Maybe it's because it's the one who went through the tribulation, so the lightning struck it. Sima Yuyue pointed to little gray bird. Although everyone felt that it was impossible, they couldn't find a more reasonable explanation. No matter what, it's good that you're okay. A class equals __cf email ref equals /cdncgi/l email protection datic female equals 7ca1f33cb7c9 email protected. Thank you, Father. Sima Yuyue smiled. What's going on? It asked you to come and see it, why did it suddenly transform? Gongzi Yuan asked. I don't know what happened. Sima Yuyue shrugged. I came up here, the little bird gave me this kitten, and then said that it wanted to transform. Before I could run, the tribulation clouds came. Then are we leaving now? Xiao Ruobai looked at little gray bird who was still transforming and asked. Moo? A class equals __cf email ref equals /cdncgi/l email protection datic female equals D03519E0C6C email protected, glanced at little gray bird, pulled Sima Yuyue to his side, and said, wait. I want to find out why he brought her here. Sima Yuyue looked up at Murong Hui and smiled slightly. If he just pretended to care about his daughter in front of outsiders, he didn't have to do this. Therefore, this person was not completely using her. Fortunately, they had already colluded in the process of transcending the tribulation. Even if he asked, he wouldn't be able to get anything out of them. Father, Sima Yuyue pulled Murong Hui. Before she could speak, Murong Hui patted her hand. His action was the same as when Sima Lu Xian patted her. Don't worry, we are here. Murong Hui comforted. Sima Yuyue wanted to say that was not what she wanted to ask, but because of his actions, she did not say anything else. Soon, the black light dissipated, and a short man in gray clothes appeared in front of everyone. The moment he transformed, all the underworld beasts in the entire atavistic Orchid Mountain bowed down to show their respect. Ha ha ha. I've finally succeeded in transforming. You. Little gray bird excitedly rushed towards Sima Yuyue. When he saw her looking at him, he quickly changed his words. I really did it. I've really transformed into a human. That's right. Sima Yuyue was smiling, but she was complaining in her heart. Who was the one who was screaming earlier? Venerable, I am the city lord of Eternal Brilliant City, She's father A class equals underscore CF underscore email underscore ref equals /CDNCGI/L/ email protection, email protected, took a step forward and stood in front of Sima Yuyue, blocking Little Grey Bird. I don't care what you are. Little Grey Bird subconsciously wanted to get rid of Murong Hui, who was in front of him, but he saw Sima Yuyue poking her head out from behind Murong Hui and looking at him. She looked like she wanted him to try. Seeing her eyes and thinking of her familiarity with the tribulation, he shrank his neck and restrained his excitement. He nodded to Murong Hui and said, "Oh, you are She's father." Murong Hui looked down at Sima Yuyue and then looked at Little Grey Bird with some curiosity in his eyes. "Venerable, do you know my daughter?" "Yes, well, I didn't know her before, but now I know her." Little Grey Bird said, "That strange cat wanted to follow her, so I could only send someone to invite her over." "That's all?" "Yes. That's all." Little Grey Bird nodded seriously, but no one present felt that way. "In that case, if there is nothing else, we will leave first. A class equals underscore CF underscore email underscore ref equals /CDNCGI/L/ email protection, datic female equals 31 ECB 71 FA 84, email protected." That. Little Grey Bird looked at Sima Yuyue pitifully. "Do you have anything else?" That. "Can I leave with you?" Little Grey Bird asked. "You want me to go with you?" Sima Yuyue looked at him in surprise. "Why?" "It's safer to be with you," Little Grey Bird said shamelessly. "Everyone, Little Grey Bird, you are a sacred beast, but you say that you feel safer with someone who has no spiritual power?" "No." Sima Yuyue refused without thinking. "Why?" Little Grey Bird looked hurt. "Because I am not interested in a stupid bird," Sima Yuyue said and turned to go down the mountain. Little Grey Bird wanted to chase after her, but Sima Yuyue put Little Purple on her shoulder. Seeing Little Purple, Little Grey Bird subconsciously took a step back. "Woo-woo, I am not stupid," Little Grey Bird said with grievance. But Sima Yuyue did not care and left with Little Purple. The rest of the people looked at her, then looked at Little Grey Bird, and finally followed her, leaving Little Grey Bird alone in the wind. He, a sacred beast, was despised by a little girl who had not cultivated spiritual power yet. He felt 10,000 points of hurt. He needed to heal himself. Fortunately, many sacred beasts came at this time. Seeing those admiring eyes, his hurt heart slowly calmed down. They went down the mountain, and it did not take long for them to see other people waiting on the way. "You guys finally came out. Are you okay inside?" Chao Chingan saw them and ran over to ask. "It's okay. What can happen to us?" Gongzi Yuan said with a smile, "But you guys haven't left yet. Didn't you think that I haven't found you yet? If you say that I left first, you will say that I lost to you." Chao Chingan said, "How about it? When will we have the final competition? Let's compete when we go back. I will definitely have more than you." Gongzi Yuan patted him on the shoulder and laughed. "Okay, let's go back. It's not certain who has more or less." Chao Chingan said unconvinced. "City Lord." The others saluted Murong Hui. "It may not be safe here recently. You did not bring any guards with you. You should go back early. A class equals underscore CF underscore email underscore ref equals /CDNCGI/L/ email protection, datic female equals B36E3 CF 37806, email protected." "City Lord, can we go back with you?" Elder Guang asked. Murong Hui glanced at Elder Guang. He had heard about the previous things from Xiao Ruobai, so he did not have a good impression of the Mu family. "Elder Guang, you came from Mu City. You don't need to go with us for such a small matter, right?" He said lightly. "Besides, what if there are other dangers with us? My daughter will always be with me. Goodbye." After that, he took Sima Yoyue's hand and left. Gongzi Yuan and Xiao Ruobai looked at each other, glanced at the embarrassed Mu Kai En and Elder Guang, and left with Murong Hui. Xiao family head and Gongzi family head saw this and also left. Chao Chingan and the others felt extremely embarrassed. They looked at the Mu family and did not know what to say for a while. Sima Yuyue looked at Murong Hui, who was faintly emitting anger. She felt that Murong Shi was really a happy woman, but unfortunately, her life was too short. Chapter 1767. 1 Second to Remember, Love Divided by You? Read book web, update fast, no pop-up window, free to read. After returning to Eternal Brilliant City, Sima Yuyue was brought back to the City Lord's mansion by Murong Hui. As for the result of the competition between Gongzi Yuan and Chao Chingan, it would not take long for her to know. You don't have to attend the youth exchange tomorrow. Have a good rest at home. A class equals __cf email _ref equals /cdncgi/l/ email protection. Datic female equals 58751A91F email protected. Thank you, Father. Sima Yuyue said with a smile. Silly child, don't be so polite with Father. Murong Hui reached out to rub her head, but his hand paused in mid-air and he took it back. The atmosphere suddenly became a little awkward. If you want to treat me as Murong Shi, it's also possible. Sima Yuyue looked at him. I know, you did this today for this reason. She was not so narcissistic to think that a person who had just known her for a short time would take risks for her. Everything was just because she looked like his daughter. Perhaps he placed his feelings for his daughter on her, or perhaps it was because he did not want to see her, who looked like his daughter, hurt. Murong Hui had a kind of embarrassment of being seen through. He left a sentence to have a good rest and left. Sima Yuyue looked at his back and sighed deeply. She turned and returned to her courtyard. After instructing Ting Shan and Ting Shui not to be disturbed, she flashed into the spirit pagoda. The spirit pagoda was still the same. She looked at the gray area and felt a little depressed. Father, wait for me, I will let you out soon. She murmured. She stayed in the spirit pagoda for a while before going out. She told Ting Shan and Ting Shui that she was going to cultivate and no one was to disturb her. She had already touched the threshold of Underworld Fiend Master. As long as she worked hard for a few more days, she would succeed. She took out the black bead, carefully washed it several times, and then swallowed it. Oh, after swallowing it, she felt her whole body was comfortable, as if every pore was opened and absorbing the soul power between heaven and earth. With this, we'll definitely be able to achieve twice the result with half the effort. Sima Yuyue said, but we don't know who left this for her. It shouldn't be the old ancestor. The old ancestor has been trapped for many years. Who could it be? His kindness for no reason made her feel a little uneasy. Then, she took out the jade bed and sat on it to cultivate. With the dual effects of the jade bed and the black pearl, her speed increased by a lot. She originally thought that she would need around 10 days to advance, but she didn't expect that she would advance on the third day. Suddenly, she opened her eyes, and a hint of helplessness flashed across her eyes. I've already turned into a soul body, yet I still can't avoid this. She sighed, put away the jade bed, and opened the door to leave. The city lord's mansion was already in a mess. Seeing her come out, Ting Shan and Ting Shui said, Miss, don't come out. It's very dangerous here. Sima Yuyue saw that the two of them were uncomfortable due to the lightning in the air, but they were still guarding outside. She comforted them, it's okay, it'll be over soon. I'll go look for Father. Moo. A class equals __cf email _ref equals /cdncgi/l/ email protection. Data female equals CD10428D1F7F email protected. Put down the things in his hands. The tribulation cloud appeared over the city lord's mansion. Such a big matter, no matter how important it was, he had to put it down. Master, why did this tribulation cloud appear inexplicably? The butler was also very anxious. If it struck down, the city lord's mansion would be finished. Go and check if anything strange happened in the mansion. Murong Hui ordered. Yes. Father, there's no need to check. Sima Yue ran in from outside and took Murong Hui's hand. Take me out of the city. You want to go out? It's indeed safer to leave the city at this time. I'll let someone take you out. A class equals __cf email _ref equals /cdncgi/l/email protection data female equals 568 BD 9169-3 email protected. The tribulation cloud in the sky was still expanding, almost enveloping the entire eternal brilliant city. The city was already in an uproar. At this time, as the city lord, how could he leave? Father, this tribulation cloud is coming for me. As long as I leave, eternal brilliant city will be safe. Sima Yue said. What did you say? Murong Hui and the butler were surprised. How could the tribulation thunder come for her? I don't have time to explain to you now. Take me out quickly. It's useless to leave late. Sima Yue said anxiously. At this time, the tribulation thunder had not locked on to the person who was going through the tribulation. Once it began to lock on, the entire city would be regarded as the person who was going through the tribulation. Thinking of the consequences, she couldn't help but shudder. Murong Hui only thought for a moment, then grabbed her hand, opened the space channel, and took her away. When she disappeared from Eternal Brilliant City, the tribulation cloud that shrouded the sky slowly dissipated. Murong Hui took her to a barren mountain. There were not even 2 underworld beasts here. Crossing the tribulation here would not hurt others. Father, I'll explain this to you later. Leave here first. Sima Yue requested. But, can you bear it? Murong Hui was a little worried. Don't worry, I used to be struck by lightning often. It's just the first time since I came to the ghost realm. Father, you should leave quickly. Murong Hui saw her confident eyes and the tribulation clouds that were quickly gathering in the sky. He no longer delayed and left the area of the tribulation thunder in a flash. After he left, Sima Yue no longer suppressed the power in her body and began to attack the underworld fiend master. As for the tribulation clouds in the sky, they had become much stronger as she advanced in level. A class equals __cf email _ref equals /cdncgi/l/email protection. The location of email protected just avoided the tribulation thunder, and he could clearly see Sima Yue's situation. When he found that she was actually advancing, and the tribulation thunder became more powerful because of her advancement, his eyes flashed. Boom! The soul power in her body broke through the shackles and flowed quickly in her body. Everything around her became clearer, and everything seemed to be back in her control again. However, before she had time to enjoy this wonderful feeling, she had to face the huge energy above her head. Only little purple came out when she advanced. Looking at the tribulation clouds in the sky, it was very excited. Sima Yue stood up and looked at little purple speechlessly. She picked it up, poked its head, and said, "Sister, I'll leave my life and death in your hands today. Don't worry, I'll protect you." Little purple clapped its 2 paws and said, "Pa!" The tribulation thunder struck, and Sima Yue's body was stiff and fell to the ground with a thud. The moment she fell, she realized that she was actually struck. Damn, didn't this useless cat say that it would protect her? It actually let her get struck? It was just a lightning bolt and she couldn't move. Little purple jumped on her and said, "Don't worry, it's good to be struck. You only took a third of the lightning bolt just now. Then you should have reminded me." Sima Yue glared at it. Little purple meowed at her. At this time, there was a tribulation thunder falling from the sky. It jumped and blocked all the tribulation thunder in midair. Murong Hui saw that Sima Yue didn't even take a single lightning bolt, and his heart instantly clenched. But when he saw that the purple cat took all the remaining lightning bolts, he was so shocked that his jaw almost fell. Chapter 1768. Remember in 1 second, love divided by you? Read book web, update fast, no pop-up window, free to read. Oh, so full. After the tribulation, little Z patted her stomach. Sima Yu rolled her eyes helplessly when she saw her belly that was obviously rounder. That look was really embarrassing. Muronghui had now recovered, but because the tribulation cloud had not dispersed, he did not dare to rush over. Sima Yue looked at the tribulation cloud that was unwilling to leave and knew what it was waiting for. This cloud spirit, it had already fallen, but it was still thinking about this. Fortunately, she sensed that after her successful advancement, the wine cellar was unlocked. With a thought, hundreds of jars of fruit wine and the hangover pills that she had refined before appeared around her. Because of improper calculation, she was almost buried by the wine jars. That's more like it. The cloud spirit's playful voice came from the clouds, and then thunder and lightning turned into chains and fell from the sky, rolling all the wine jars to the sky. Don't forget to take the hangover pills. It won't do if you make a mistake. Sima Yue reminded. I know. The cloud spirit got the fruit wine and left contentedly. This scene made Muronghui even more surprised. Seeing the tribulation cloud leave, he didn't have time to think and ran over. Seeing that she was injured, he said, "How are you? Take the pill first." Sima Yue ate the pill he fed her and felt that her painful body was relieved a lot. "Father, thank you," she said weakly. Muronghui checked her body. Although she was struck like charcoal, it was all external injuries. She could recover after taking some pills. You and that lightning tribulation, it's my friend. Sima Yue said. You are the daughter of the dark princess in the human world. A class equals __cf email ref equals /cdncgi/l/ email protection. Datic female equals CB16448B067003700007E. Email protected. You guessed it. Sima Yue was not surprised. I should have guessed it. A class equals __cf email ref equals /cdncgi/l/ email protection. You look so much like she. I should have thought of you when I saw you. Huh? Sima Yue did not understand what he meant. She-er's mother and your mother are cousins, and they look very similar. She-er and her mother look almost exactly the same. Therefore, everyone knew that she-er was very similar to the Dark Princess. Other than the Dark Princess, the only other person who looks so similar to she-er is her daughter. A class equals __cf email ref equals /cdncgi/l/ email protection. Moreover, some of the things that happened to you in the human realm have also spread in the ghost realm. It's just that no one knows what you look like yet. Sima Yue did not expect that Muronghui was actually her relative. He was also her uncle. I know that you are very powerful in the human realm, so I didn't expect that you would come to the ghost realm. So I didn't think about it. A class equals __cf email ref equals /cdncgi/l/ email protection. Datic female equals 60B0E22-68. Email protected. Uncle. Sima Yue shouted. You should call me father. Muronghui stopped her from changing her words. If some people know that you have come to the ghost realm, I'm afraid it will be very dangerous. Especially Anaheim's family. You killed Yudu, they all want to kill you for revenge. However, if you appear with the identity of she-er, even if they find out that you look similar to the Dark Princess, they will not doubt your identity. But, if you are found out, you will also be in trouble. We have been indebted to the Dark Princess, so it is right to help her take care of you. Since I am your uncle, if you don't mind, we can recognize each other as godparents. You can be my medical adopted daughter, and you don't have to care about that name. Sima Yue was a little moved, and sincerely called, father. I didn't expect that I lost a daughter, and now I have another daughter. A class equals __cf email __ ref equals /cdncgi/l/ email protection datic female equals A072Fe06B15 email protected. I'll take you back to recuperate first. He leaned over and picked up Sima Yuyue. At this time, little Z fell from the air, and he was scared to take 2 steps back. The underworld beast that could eat electricity gave him a strong sense of crisis. Father, it's okay, little Z won't hurt you. Sima Yuyue said. What kind of underworld beast is it? Murong Hui was still a little afraid. It's not an underworld beast. It's the purple thunder. Purple thunder? What's that? It's the thunder tribulation that fell to the human world. Sima Yuyue didn't know how to explain it. You can think of it as a thunder underworld beast that is more powerful than the thunder tribulation. Okay. Murong Hui saw little Z grinning at him, and knew that it was definitely not smiling at him, but threatening him. Little Z, if you don't come back, we will go back. Sima Yuyue threatened. Little Z didn't scare Murong Hui, and rushed towards Sima Yuyue. When it approached her, it turned into a purple light and returned to her body. Okay, Father, let's go back. When Murong Hui returned to the city lord mansion with Sima Yuyue in his arms, everyone was still immersed in the previous fear. It couldn't be helped, who let the thunder tribulation be too terrifying for the people of the ghost clan. Ting Shan and Ting Shui were wandering anxiously in the yard. Sima Yuyue didn't come back after she went out, and they didn't know if she was scared. Suddenly, Ting Shan felt that there was a movement in the air, and in a blink of an eye, she saw Murong Hui coming back with Sima Yuyue in his arms. Miss! Ting Shan ran over and saw Sima Yuyue was scorched black, and she cried out in surprise. Go open the door. Murong Hui ordered. Ting Shui was close to the room, so she turned and ran to open the door. Murong Hui carried Sima Yuyue in and carefully put her on the bed. Master, what happened to Miss? Ting Shan and Ting Shui followed in and asked. She accidentally encountered someone else's tribulation. A class equals __cf email __ ref equals /cdncgi/l/ email protection datic female equals 23 feek 63 E896 email protected. Don't let anyone know about this, understand? Yes, Master. Ting Shan and Ting Shui replied at the same time. They have all sworn loyalty to the Murong family, so don't worry about them leaking the news. Murong Hui explained to Sima Yuyue. He was also telling her that these 2 people were trustworthy. I know, Father. Sima Yuyue said. Then you have a good rest, I still have to deal with some things. A class equals __cf email __ ref equals /cdncgi/l/ email protection datic female equals 68B5E728A3DD email protected. Sima Yuyue nodded. After today's incident, the people in Eternal Brilliant City needed to be appeased, and the tribulation place also needed to be dealt with. Ting Shan and Ting Shui are here. If you need anything, just tell them. Murong Hui exhorted again before leaving. Ting Shan and Ting Shui sent him out. Seeing him like this, they felt that the relationship between Master and Miss had returned to how it was before. Recently, they even felt that the old Master was treating the young Miss coldly. Sima Yuyue exhaled a long breath, closed her eyes and began to rest. At this time, the only thing she could do was to sleep. Because of the injury on her body and the effect of the medicine, she quickly fell asleep. What she didn't notice was that after she fell asleep, the black bead in her body began to rotate quickly, emitting a faint light. The light walked in her body, and wherever it went, the injuries caused by the thunder and lightning would recover. When she woke up, her external injuries were completely healed. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.